What y'all up to in here? We're gonna have us a conversation. It's gonna be a good time. Yeah. This is the first time I ran a background like this, but if y'all are in here and y'all like the background at least, go ahead and start liking it up. Let's get the likes going on. That'll help us bring some folks in. It'll be a good time. Yeah. Shoot some comments down there. I'm gonna get to them in just a second. Yeah. You early? You is early. You is early. We just getting things started. It's just popping on. Yeah. Y'all would, yeah. So if y'all like the background, we do these types of discussions. We put out this type of content. It's a good time. It's gonna be what's up. I'm trying to get my little system situated a little bit more better, but that's all right. Is the music too loud? Can somebody tell me that? It didn't even show me how many folks is up in here. Yeah, if y'all would go on and light this thing up, go on and tap it up. It'll be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna grab my computer, get that computer going. That way I can be on Discord at the same time that we're holding this live. Yup. Yup. Send this thing out. So if there's anybody that y'all feel like needs to talk on this topic, let's do that. Let's get somebody up in here. Yeah, get it going on, get it liked up. I need to get a gift goal set. Get that little doodad going. This is the first time I didn't even talk to nobody about this topic or this background. I was just like, I got it in the bag. So I need to go on and run it, you know? Let's put us a little oh no. We're gonna set us a gift goal right here. If I can figure out how. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I hear something going on, crack-a-lacking. Get a little 50 ice cream cones out there. Bye, yeah. Pin that, dude. There we go. We like that. What's going on, Nelly Nation? I don't know if yeah, we in the matriarchy. Like I said, I figured this would got the little dick meets going on. I like it. Let me post in the Discord that I am live. We got 1,000 likes. We got 14 folks. I feel as though this topic it's skipped over a lot of the times in TikTok lives and in like real life, because we're so indoctrinated with something that has to be a ruling system where it just doesn't have to be like that, you know. We can do it in a matriarchal way. We can do it in yeah, I'll bring up a friendly and stuff. Let's get up to like 3-4K likes, and then we'll have, we'll bring in a friendly or two. You know. But yeah, it's gonna. I feel as though that's what a lot of people kind of miss out on. They just don't. They don't. They don't put two and two together that we just don't have to have an oppressive system in order to live in society. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not needed. It ain't got to be there. We can have egalitarian style society. Oh, look at, I appreciate that. We don't have to work the way that we're working now. We don't have to have money like the way that we have now. And all of this goes into that, You should do what's best, what you can move around in society and do the best at, and that's how society should be. We shouldn't have police officers. We shouldn't have the military that we have. We shouldn't have all of these things, all of these systems in order to protect us from the evil of ourselves. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy when we have these oppressive systems set up in place to keep us away from more bad behavior, So, yeah, but that's how I feel as though it is. Like I said, I've really not had a topic or had a live geared specifically to this, so we'll see how it kind of goes. I don't know. I've got the topic that we ran the other night, had 100-odd folks in here having a bad time. I thought about running it, but I was just in my live topics, and that's it. I think somebody has a tapper. I'm telling you, they typing it up. Yeah, love is always the answer. Like I said, if you lead with love, it really solves a lot of problems. So, yeah, and that's really, if you want to talk about the presidential situation, like, one side demonizes entire groups of people, and the other side said, let's figure out a way to work together and solve these problems that we have. So, like, tell me which solution is going to work out better for everyone, right? Which one is leading with love in that answer, right? So yeah, if y'all if there's somebody that wants to come up and have a discussion, we almost at 5K likes here in the first few minutes, and that's what we love. That's supposed to help the algorithm and push it out. I saw Patriarch Mike in here. I got a feeling like he probably is not a fan of this background. On account of his name says that, which is wild behavior. I sent you an invite, Mikey. Come on up, let's have a conversation. It'll be a good time. You don't think so? I think it'll be a great time. Is that music too loud? Y'all tell me if it is. No, we're not going to accept that. Yeah, it is too loud. I'm gonna have to holler to get it turned down. But I'll be right back. Hey Google, play soft bed. That might be more better. What happened to Patriarch Mike? I pulled him up here. That's okay. We'll just talk to Maddie right quick. Yeah, this is a good background. This is a lovely background. But yeah, y'all got the types all up. Got the folks rolling in. It's gonna be a good time. If there's infrastructure, technology, lumps. What you talking about, lumps?
Hello.
What's going on?
Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, that's lovely.
Hey, I just you left a lot of stuff off of the patriarchy. I mean, you listed terrible things, which is true, but there's a lot of good there too.
Yeah, what's good in the patriarchy?
What I said: infrastructure, technology, buildings, homes.
Um, well, first off, you're going to try to credit those things to just men only. You don't think that women work inside of those fields?
I'm sorry. Has Are we in a matriarchy? Has there been a matriarchy?
Do you think that women work inside those fields? I don't think that you might. Can you define what the patriarchy is?
Yeah, it's a male control society.
Okay, so male controlled society, but that doesn't mean that women don't work within that society. So you think that just because men controlled something doesn't mean that women didn't contribute to anything? They were excluded
Um,
from it?
what did they do?
Well,
We have a list. We have a
you
list of
came from a woman
inventors.
right off the bat.
I mean, there's so few. I mean, like so few inventors and creators. I mean, you have what's her name with the Madam what's her name with the radiation, and there's a couple, but not many.
Do you know who was responsible for creating the technology that is used for you to be on Wi-Fi right now?
The movie star chick
Okay,
in the
let's not be
40s.
disrespectful. Hedy Lamarr, a woman.
Yeah, yeah, in the
Do you know
40s.
who wrote the first,
He
like,
wrote. Actually, it was
computer?
for
Excuse
radar.
me. Hi. Do you know who wrote the first, like, computer program? Like, could invented computer programming?
James Ananashoff at Iowa State University.
What did Ada Lovelace invent? Hold on, maybe I'm mistaking her for someone else.
Well, so here's the thing. I don't want to get into those
Oh,
things
I'm
quite
sorry.
yet, but I don't. But what we're skipping over is the oppression of the patriarch system on women and minority individuals and stuff like that. It's the same reason why minority people didn't invent things before the last 50 or 100 years in a large way. It's because they were excluded from those things. They were excluded from those jobs and such as that. You see. So
Okay,
Adam,
well then I can go to the other thing then. Okay, so how there's never been a matriarchy. So how do you know there will be regeneration,
Can,
mother-centered love, balance, community?
because those are the things that do that. That's what that system entails. There has
How do
been
you know?
societies that wait. Just because you haven't lived in a society like that, and doesn't mean that, and you haven't studied societies like that, doesn't mean that there's not societies like that in the past. And there's a few tribes that still adhere to that system today. Okay,
I don't think there's ever been a matriarchy.
that's your description, but that's
I
false.
took some anthropology, so I'm pretty sure that's true.
No, so that's just false in general. But again, the
How could,
patriarchy dominated over that. That's the problem. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, but what's your argument to say that's false? I mean, you can't just say that's false. Give me a tribe. Name me a tribe. Name me a matriarchy.
if you give
Yeah,
me 30 seconds, I can do that, Jeff.
yeah. You can do it, or I mean, I've got my laptop right here also.
Okay, yeah. I'm opening up my source document and I'm going to the matriarchy section, but if you got it, that's fine.
yeah. No, that's good too. I know that we're working on building that inside of your Discord, which we like, but I just don't have it right here, pulled up. But I didn't think that I would have to like prove that those things existed to someone. I
Yeah.
didn't know that there was going to be that much misogyny. I don't know why.
It's not
I,
Yeah,
misogyny.
so Lumps, I think
It's
it's
just true.
really Lumps. I
Yeah.
think it's really interesting that you said you have an anthropology degree, but
No,
you're
no,
not
no, no.
aware, excuse me, or that you
I didn't
studied
say I had an
anthropology.
anthropology degree.
Can I please finish one
Well, don't say
sentence?
something that's a lie.
no,
Okay, then I misheard you. I apologize.
Okay. I took a couple classes.
Okay, okay. So the patriarchy has only existed for 12,000 years. And before that, there were matriarchal societies. In fact, indigenous tribes here on Turtle Island were matriarchal societies.
How do you know that? That's before written. That's before writing.
When do you think writing happened?
I think it was about 5,000 years ago. Wasn't Phoenician or not Phoenician, but 6,000 maybe. Dude, there's no writing from 12,000 years ago.
These people Like indigenous tribes pass on their history orally.
So, like the world's longest game of telephone.
No, that's incredibly disrespectful to indigenous communities.
That's what it is, though.
No, it's not.
Thank
Wow.
you.
How? What information can be accurate that is passed by word of mouth from generation to generation?
There is more evidence than just word of mouth. I was simply answering your point about writing. I don't even know if what you said about that was accurate off the top of my head, but like,
That's accurate.
but if you're going to say that the patriarchy has always existed, you would have to provide a source. There are matriarchal societies right now
Where?
in northeastern India, the Khasi tribe, in China, the Muso people. I really am going to butcher these pronunciations. There's one in Indonesia, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but I can spell it in the chat if you want. In
Yeah.
Ghana and in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
That's like a community. That's a matriarchy. That's fine.
They are
Like a small community.
indigenous communities. You're being incredibly
Yeah.
anti-indigenous right now.
Yeah. I said
Anti-indigenous. How is that
society.
anti-indigenous? I said they're communities.
Yeah. Well, you're trying not to respect them as a people.
No, I'm saying they're in a country, a larger country. It isn't.
So,
Like
there's
China. It's not a China's definitely not a matriarchy.
I never said all of China was a matriarchy. I said, okay, you are being incredibly disingenuous, and
I'm
you
not
are
being
being
disingenuous at
and you're
all.
being very anti-indigenous.
What's anti-indigenous?
You called them passing down their history orally as a game of telephone.
That's what it compares to.
No, it's not,
You're
do you
friend.
believe?
into
Wait a minute.
somebody younger. It's
Lumps,
like going around the line.
lumps. Do you believe in the Bible?
Eh,
Do you believe in the Bible?
some of the stuff I think there's some history in there.
Okay, that was in relation to what you said that was disrespectful. That was before written history. So there that being
Bible? That's
yeah,
not before written
the Bible
history.
wasn't recorded. The Bible didn't start being recorded until like second century, and it didn't finish until like the seventh
AD
century.
70. Where do you get your facts?
That's factual information, sir.
AD 70 is when the Bible was written.
You
Are
think it
you
was sent down in
serious?
one day and it was written in 1 year?
It was within one generation of Christ, and at the
Oh,
ASEAN convention or whatever, they
that's already
only
wrong.
included
You should
firsthand
Oh no.
firsthand reference.
you should go back to school, sir. If you said you had a couple of classes, you should go back and do those things again.
I am very well educated, and you can look that up.
I can
I
look at
don't.
your
What
education.
what was that you just called? Like you don't think there was written history back then from when Christ was walking?
I'm
You
telling you,
you
the Bible wasn't written down and it was passed down through stories for a hot minute until it was written down, and
it
that's factual.
wasn't. They have the authors. There's authors. Paul wrote
Okay,
like 5 chapters.
no, do you think that oh my God. Okay,
Paul
just so
was a
you
real
know,
person. He wrote it.
according to shush, please.
Okay.
Okay, the Bible is a collection of 66 books composed and compiled over 2,000 years by 40 authors on 3 continents.
The New Testament I'm talking.
Okay, that's not the Bible though.
No, I'm talking the New Testament.
Okay, the goalpost moving is. I'm getting
Well, the New
whiplash,
Testament
friend.
is what we live. Well, what not we, but like what the Christianity is the New Testament. The Old Testament has nothing to do with Christianity, basically. It just
So,
shows the roots.
All right.
oh my
So
God.
look, let's get back a little bit on topic here. All right, because I can tell that this is not gonna end well, because you're spinning for not a lot of reasons. So let's go back to your problem was I left out a lot of things in the patriarchy itself.
Yeah.
And do you think that a matriarchal society would not support those activities?
I think it does not lean, matriarchy, I don't believe, leans to progress.
Matriarchy doesn't lead to progress.
Lean to progress.
Why?
Like, if
Why
you
does
look
it
at,
not?
like, from the patriarchy, you said we've been living under 12,000 years of patriarchy. Look at the standard of living, how much it's improved all the way in 12,000 years. I don't think would happen under a matriarchy.
I think that you need to look at that. You're looking at that from a place of privilege. You need to look at all define progress for every person alive on the world right now, and you'll find that there's many more people that are disenfranchised and at the oppressive hands of others than there are people that are living in an egalitarian style society. Do you not agree with that?
I think, well, egalitarian is hard. I mean,
Okay, then leave that
that's
word out.
interesting when
Okay.
you
Leave
talk.
that word out. Leave that word
Okay.
out. Do you think that there are more people oppressed now than people that are not oppressed?
Oh, I think there's much fewer people oppressed than there were
No,
like
no, no.
500 years ago.
I'm talking about right now, the amount of people that are oppressed. You think that that's okay? Do you think that's a good society right now?
I think we're still evolving and progressing.
And we would progress a lot more with a matriarchal society.
How can you prove that? You have no proof of that.
Because look at what a matriarchal society supports compared to a patriarch.
That looks like backwards to me. That looks like it's just you're going back to how the indigenous people lived, as she said. That you're talking about
Yep.
communal
Perfect.
living,
Okay,
Perfect.
okay.
things
Lump,
like that.
lump. I think you're misunderstanding what the definition of the patriarchy is. The patriarchy is not just a society where men hold institutional and systemic power. They use that power to oppress women. Patriarchy it is built off the oppression and subjugation of women. In matriarchal societies, historically, they are more egalitarian. Nobody is oppressed. That's what the disconnect here is. Patriarchy cannot exist without the subjugation of women.
How do you know that? I mean, for one,
How do I know anything? I don't
well,
even
you
know how to
define the
you keep
patriarchy
saying that.
because
I don't know how to answer that.
because we've never had a matriarchy. How do you
We
know they were oppressed
have.
then?
Indigenous societies were matriarchal, friend.
No, no. Which ones?
A
Almost
lot of
all
them.
of them.
Yeah,
We
So the American
Oh, Jeff,
indigenous,
please, I
Native
can't.
Americans were all women led.
yeah, most of even if they weren't, they're not. See,
No,
there's
no,
your problem.
there
Also,
was
you're
one.
thinking. Wait. So you're thinking that they are women led, as in like there's queens or something, right? But the matriarch gives equal rights to everyone. A lot of indigenous people within inside the United States landmass now, those civilizations back then, everyone was one. A child was one. A child has just as much rights as an adult, man or woman. And you're missing that point of that's the society that we need. That way, a child's voice could be heard instead of disrespected. And the society that we have now doesn't hold that up.
There's never been a, dude. As soon as you get larger than a small community, governments step in, leaders. That's the way it is. You can't have. That's why communism does not work on a large scale.
Jeff, can I please ask him my favorite question? Please, pretty please.
Yes, ma'am.
Ask me. I don't care.
You're not the host. I'm respecting Jeff. He's the
Oh.
host, okay? What did you define communism?
Communism is a political party of socialism.
That's incorrect.
That is not incorrect.
It very much is.
It is
Do
not.
you want to try defining? There's a difference between socialism and communism.
Communism,
It's also not a political party, it's an economic system.
it's a political
So
party.
so
No,
can
it is not an
it's
economic
not.
system.
Can you
This I
please
did actually
define
major in.
can you
But
please you're
social.
being really emotional right now.
No, I'm not emotional.
Can you let me finish a sentence?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
What's your
Can you please define socialism?
socialism is government owned and controlled
That
all
is also
distribution,
incorrect.
distribution and means of production.
No, that's not what that is.
Well, you should probably take an
Those,
economy class then, because that's how they
I
describe it.
literally have an MBA, friend.
Ah, dude, I took economy too, 400
I didn't
level.
take an economy class. I have an MBA, friend.
If it's in the humanities, I don't even care.
Do you know what an MBA is?
Yes,
I
it's
have
in
a
the business,
master's
masters in
degree in
business.
business.
Yeah, so you took some econ. You took basic econ.
Yes. Okay,
So
I
then you
took
know
more than
that.
basic. Listen to me. Do you have access to a computer right now?
I don't know, actually. I don't. I'm in bed.
Okay, can I turn on my screen if Jeff allows me and pull up the definition of socialism and communism so you can read it?
I want a definition according to um, Maynard Keynes. John Maynard
According to
Keynes.
who?
John Maynard Keynes, the
Oh,
father of economics.
Okay. I don't know how to spell it, but I'm looking it up. You do know that, is it spelled Keynes? K-E.
Keynes. It's Keynes, but it's pronounced Keynes.
Y'all tap it up while we're looking up a definition. Like it, share it.
Thank you, Ellen.
I can't see that he defined socialism, but I do see that he described himself as a socialist.
No, he's not.
I'm literally okay. You're having a really big reaction to information. So
Well,
what I'm going to do is I'm just going to search socialism definition, and I just want to show you my screen, and I just want you to read what it says, okay? So
okay.
let me figure that out.
Can I blow your mind then if you want to search definitions? I mean, you
Anyway,
can say anything now. I mean,
no, I'm not even doing anything fancy. It's just right here on the screen. It
how
says
do I make it bigger?
I can't make it bigger. I'm
How
gonna
do I make it bigger? Can I tap it or?
No, you
You don't. You
can't.
can't. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I'm frozen right here, so I'm gonna step
Oh,
out of the
you
live.
are frozen. I
I
just
Yeah.
thought you
noticed.
were eerily still.
No, no, I'm
Okay.
frozen up. So y'all continue to talk, but I'm gonna try to jump out and unfreeze.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I'm just going to read this to you, okay?
Okay.
It says it is a political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. That's what it means. It's
Yes.
nothing to do with the government owning everything. It has to do with the workers owning the means of production.
And what do you do with a group larger than 100? This is why I said it doesn't work in anything
And
outside of a small community.
that's
You have
that's
to
not
elect
true. We have
leaders
democratic
with a group larger than 100. This is why I said it doesn't work in anything
and
outside of a small community.
that's
You have
that's
to
not true.
elect
We have
leaders.
democratic social, like, you don't, what do you think like Sweden and Norway and like Finland are?
I
Like they're
think
still capitalist, but they
they're
have but
they're
they're a
capitalists
social
with less
democracy.
regulation than we have.
They're a social democracy, right? Like they implement, okay, okay, I mean this like very respectfully, and I'm gonna be so kind because I'm on Jeff's platform and he's kind enough to let me speak. I genuinely don't think you understand enough about what you're saying to have this conversation because you're arguing with me about definitions when you're provably incorrect.
Dude, your definition is garbage.
It's Oxford's definition, not mine. Is
You
Oxford
changed you
garbage?
changed your definition, dude. I went to, so I'm sorry. I guess you're probably right. You're how old are you?
I'm 36.
And you went to college where?
I'm not going to dox myself, friend.
Well, I went to Iowa State. That doesn't dox me.
I don't tell people where I live on this app.
Right.
So yeah, look at. But so you don't think I could find a definition online that matches what I said?
You can if you want, but like, this is
Yeah. So
very
what makes your
simple.
definition right?
Okay, then go find it. I don't know what to tell
Yeah, I don't have
you.
a computer. Okay. You want to look up something fun and cool? Look up fascism.
No, no,
Everybody
no.
thinks it's
I,
a right-leaning movement,
okay, I'm gonna pull something up really quickly.
and everybody thinks Hitler was a fascist. He wasn't.
Hitler, oh my God. First of
Nope.
all, you can't say that name.
Yeah.
Oh, he can't. Well, I
No.
could be talking about his brother,
No.
You
Well,
can't, oh my God.
Jeff. We'll call him Jeff.
the
Okay.
um
Fascism is a right-leaning ideology. Socialism and communism are left-wing
Who invented
ideologies.
fascism? Who started fascism?
I don't know who started fascism.
Benito Mussolini. So his
Okay.
definition is probably the best.
no.
Okay,
He
well,
started it.
this is,
That's Italy.
I know, I was born in Italy.
Yeah.
I understand. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalist
By
political
Benito
ideology.
Mussolini. Look up Benito Mussolini's definition of fascism.
Why are all your definitions like not the standard like usage of these terms?
Because I'm going with the guy that invented it.
Well, you shouldn't know.
Oh
That's the
Lord.
thing. You shouldn't.
Why
There's
wouldn't I?
because like the easiest example that I can think of right off my head is Here in the United States, we call the hood of a car the hood, and in Australia they call it the bonnet, right? Hood of a car, the hood, and in Australia they call it the bonnet, right? Hood of a car, the hood, and in Australia they call it the bonnet.
Yeah.
So different terms can mean the same thing, and then the same terms can mean different things to some degree. But we as a society have constructed language, and we use it in a way that makes sense. Okay, so right now, about 99% of the people that you come up to in college courses, not on the street, are going to agree that fascism is a, and I'm trying to mispronounce the word so I don't get flagged on TikTok, is a far right wing authoritarianism government.
Okay. Okay. Well, fine. Whatever. I don't care about fashion, but my point was people that say the H dude was a fascist, and he wasn't.
And he was. And
No.
he was.
What was what
He
was
a-
his party?
He was He was a
What was his party?
far right wing.
No.
Jeff.
What was his party? What was the name?
Jeff, he's referring to the fact that that Hitler called himself a socialist.
Yes, he did.
Right. So
Workers' Party.
if I call myself the Queen of England, am I?
I don't know. He said he was a national. His first thing he did was enacted national health care.
So right here,
Canada
only
has
certain
national
people.
health care. They're not fascist.
I know.
Mussolini, dictator of fascist Italy, left, and Adolf Hitler are examples of fascist leaders. Okay, I mean it's not that difficult to understand. I don't want
Was
to
that
argue about
Wikipedia
these.
or something?
And here's the thing: I don't want to argue about these. They're not really insurmountable because you need to know the definitions. But what I'm trying to tell you is that if you don't even understand these definitions, or you're trying to be argumentative about this, it's literally just the patriarchy coming out in you. And that,
Dude, this is what I was taught in college. We were taught to go back to the source, to the original.
yeah, it just kind of proves the point that the patriarchy is a problem.
Well, it proves the point of why when I was in grammar school, we were number one in the world, and now we're like, what, 42nd in developed countries?
How old are you?
52.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's fine, Maddie. He's being silly for no reason. I don't think that anybody here on this live is agreeing with him. By all means, you know. Yeah, just like Jay said, just being argumentative for the sake of being argumentative. You know,
I'm not being argumentative for the sake of argumentative. Everything I've said is true.
no, sir. No, it's not.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Especially on your matriarchy and patriarchy thing. I mean, all you've done is listed bad parts of me. It's like that term. What is that? Oh God, male masculinity, toxic. There's no such thing. Masculinity is just masculinity. It's just a person. It's just a dude.
No. So you're
Yeah.
you're saying masculinity is performed only by men or something?
No, I said masculinity is just a trait.
What is the trait?
Just basically men was most likely, but there can be women that are masculine.
Okay, but what's masculine? Define it.
Masculine would be what my dad would say would be strong, a leader.
Abusive?
No,
Hitting?
can they be? Yes.
Manipulative?
Are all of them? Do they have to be?
Do they all have to be strong? Are you strong?
There's no women that beat.
You want
There's
to do
no
a push-up
women.
Turn your camera on. Let's do a push-up contest. Let's see who's the most masculine.
Dude, I'm 52 years old. How old are you?
I don't know. Old enough to do a push-up contest with you. You're saying that you're tying your masculinity to strength. Are you not masculine?
Did you just challenge a senior citizen to a push-up contest?
I'm
Oh
an old
my
man
God.
also drinking coffee.
What the hell is wrong with you? So you're the masculine right here.
You think
Is what
so?
you're saying. You're the masculine dude.
I don't know. I'm not claiming to be.
Obviously.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you're not a senior citizen yet. You should still have a lot of masculinity in you.
Dude, I have worked manual labor my whole life. I am like I could barely get out of a chair.
You know what? You know what the problem with that is? That's the patriarchy hard at work. Blame the
I
patriarchy
enjoy
for
my
that.
life. I enjoy working outside.
Blame the patriarchy why you can't get up out of a chair, sir. And
I blame myself. I was stupid.
No, the system pushed you there. The system said that that's where you should be. The system said that you're a man, you should do physical labor. That's what the
No,
system told you.
I started a landscape architecture firm. I'm a landscape architect. I started a firm that does landscaping, and I went out, started it, so I had to be out there working with the guys and everything, and I just ruined my body.
Yep, yep. By performing masculinity toxically.
No, by doing something I enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah, and that, like Maddie said, Maddie, you can unmute and jump in whenever you want. But yeah, in my opinion, an architect doesn't. They're not out there doing a lot of manual labor.
Well, my company is huge. Dude, I have 20 employees.
Okay.
I'm confused because
That's
like
small.
I work
That's tiny.
I work in construction, and the architects are like literally the most like lazy and incompetent people that I deal with in my job. I'm not even joking.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure, like at just a pure architecture firm, yeah. But I own a landscape company. I'm a landscape architect at a landscape
Architects
company that
don't
I
do
started.
physical labor.
I do. I grew up on a farm. I've done physical labor my whole life.
Oh, but if you owned a company and you were an architect, how were you doing physical labor?
Are you being serious?
Yeah,
I go out and work.
architects don't do physical labor.
Yeah. And
I work right with the dudes.
Oh, okay, so you weren't just an architect. Okay, that's what I was trying to understand.
yeah.
What do you mean? No, architect is what I got a degree in, and that's what I do. I design it, then we go out and build it. I design, meet with the people, then we build it.
So you can't run a
Architects
business
don't
efficiently either.
architects don't build. Like I feel like you're lying. I'm not gonna lie. Like none of this tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Really,
what Jay said. I'm smelling lies here.
I'm
Because look,
smelling
I'm an
lies
electrical
for a
Lance,
landscape, a 20
Lance,
people
Lance,
landscape company.
I'm an electrical superintendent, okay, and
Okay.
I guarantee, and I can be running a job with 3 employees, and I'm not. If I don't want to do anything, I'm not doing it. Secondly, if the employees are doing anything that's going to strain them in a way that they're not going to be able to get up out of the bed at 52, I'm going to intervene and make sure that they are working properly because it's 2024, and just because the patriarchy pushes that lie of you need to pick up heavy stuff and you need to be physical and all that type of stuff. We have a lot of tools
You didn't grow up in
available
Iowa.
to us. Wait, we have a lot of tools available to us: equipment, machinery, hand tools, pneumatic tools, all these types of things that allow us to work in a manner that doesn't break our bodies down. And so that being the case, you at 52, I'm 35. You're not really that much older than me. You should have been wearing gloves, using your forklift, using all these types of things that stepped in the way of you being a physical
Did
tool
you hear what
to
I said?
perform
I
your work.
started the company.
Yeah,
That means I didn't have equipment. I had a wheelbarrow and a shovel when I first started.
again,
I bought a used truck.
so you can't run a company either. That's what you're telling me. You also can't run a company because I
I'm
also have a
saying
company.
I started from nothing and built it.
I also started from nothing, sir.
Yeah, but you're just an electrical what?
I'm an electrical superintendent. We we
Okay.
pull, we pull wire that weighs 9 pounds per foot. We'll pull 1,000 foot runs in, but nobody's straining their back doing it.
Because
Now,
that's machine work.
no, it doesn't have to be. I've been plenty of jobs and seen plenty of things where they try to make physical labor do that. But you have to step in and intervene because human rights above everything, and that's what the patriarchy doesn't push.
So max
And
pull like 25 feet manually?
the what?
What's your max pull like 25 feet manually? That's a pretty heavy load.
900 feet, sir.
900 feet times 9 pounds.
Yes,
And
sir.
you can do that manually.
I've seen it done.
900 times 9.
I've seen it done. Now, just because you can't
That's 5
engineer,
tons.
just
That's 5
because
tons.
I know it's crazy, right? Just because you
And you
can't
seen a person
engineer,
pull 5 tons.
you don't pull it all at one time. And this is a really good example of you don't understand jobs. And that's also why your back hurts is because you don't understand jobs and you didn't do them correctly. So now you're 52 and you can't
Don't
get out of the
pull
chair.
wire, dude.
You know? Huh?
Don't pull wire. I plant trees and build walls.
Okay. That's fine.
The
I
wall
built,
block, for years, the wall block is 125 pounds. There's no other way to get it on the wall but to put it there.
uh-huh. I
And
know.
modular block.
I know it's tough. I know it's tough to perform your masculinity. I know that. It's okay, man. It's okay.
Why?
What I'm trying to do is to make sure that I'm 35. I'm trying to make sure that the employees, not just men, but women and everybody in between, I'm trying to make sure that when they come of age, they're listening to people like me and not listening to people like you.
That's
Because
why my generation has money and yours doesn't.
let's don't talk about the money because I trust me.
Please talk to me about capitalism. Please talk to me.
No, because we worked.
Oh, I
We
don't
worked.
work. I've been working since I was 12, friend.
Have you read about all of the business reports now with all the kids and like I don't know they don't
What are you
show up.
talking
They want to
about?
work from home. They want to do all this. Yeah, it's just
What are you talking
crazy.
about? I just said I've been working since I was 12. There was a point in my life where I had to work 5 jobs.
You are an exception.
No, millennials work harder than your generation.
Gen X? No.
Yeah,
Yeah, did y'all see that pivot 180 in here? The pivot was a Heisman Trophy special. He was skirting on that pivot right there, like, oh, it's about to roll now.
Pivot back then. I'm sorry, my mind's racing. Pivot back.
It's fine. Your house costs like 7 cents or something. It's okay. It's all right.
yeah. Not to mention you were able to graduate and get a job before the recession in 2008. I graduated high school 2 years before that happened. You had more opportunity and everything was cheaper. And minimum wage hasn't gone up in like 20 years, but inflation is driving everything up. Like you got
Okay.
way more for, don't interrupt me. You got way more for your dollar. Way more. I don't even want to hear it from you. You've had one job. I've had to work literally 5 jobs at a time to be in a shitty apartment. Okay. You just are privileged.
Jimmy Carter. That's all I got to say.
I don't know what the
Worst
fuck that
recession in
even
history.
means.
That's
But
my
if
life. My
I don't,
life was Jimmy Carter, gas lines.
you're
We didn't have
not,
enough
you're
food.
not the president, friend.
Yeah, but that's when I was there. That's when I was there. Jimmy Carter.
I don't know what that means. He's just saying things, Jeff. I don't know. I don't know,
He
Jeff.
got to 98. He's just hollering stuff out at this point. He's just if you
Oh my
don't
God.
understand, that's okay. But I'm gonna
It's
be honest.
funny.
I'm gonna be honest
It's
with you.
funny. Your
Somebody
generation is like, oh my God, they said the Gen X is the softest. Really, Jade?
yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you got a little bit of black lung too while you're at it. So
No, I just inhaled a little bit.
yeah. So like first I don't understand. I don't understand where he thinks that he's got and he's graduated and he doesn't have a so you're supposed to go to school so you don't injure your back is what y'all were taught. And now you have an injured back. I'm so confused at this situation. But anyway, let's see if we got anybody in the queue. We do.
Please, please, can we have someone that's read a book? I beg, please.
If somebody uh-oh.
Okay, you guys are idiots, though. Seriously.
You don't have to call us slurs or nothing. You don't have to do that.
Not a slur, just the truth.
It's
Well, just an
ableist.
insult.
It's ableist, friend, to call people that, but that's fine. I'm of the very sensitive generation, so maybe that's why I think that.
The snowflake was what they like to call us. But anytime that we ask about pronouns, they flip out. So yeah, he
Should have done that.
he spent his whole life all back no legs when he was picking stuff up. All back no legs.
He walked uphill to school 2 miles both ways in the snow all year round. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go, Kristen. Invite some toxic men over. Yeah.
How long have you been back from Spain? I
Uh,
forgot.
I got back on the 23rd, right up in there.
Oh,
So
okay. Can I ask you one like silly question?
sure.
It's not silly, but like it's off topic. Like, what was your favorite food that you had there? Because the food is so much better over there.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I didn't have the best food experience in Spain,
Oh
and
no.
I'm not exactly sure why, but I did in your Discord. I put up a picture of some type of sandwich, and I can't even remember the name of it, but it was
I
really dope.
remember that.
I'm a really big street food fan. The biggest thing that I actually liked was the coffee itself. Uh, and there was a guy that went with us, and he had saved a TikTok from like 9 months prior to that, before he even knew he was going on the trip with us, and uh, he he pulled it up and was like, "There's a place that I'd like to go to in Madrid." and we ended up looking it up, and it was like 6 blocks away, and it was like, well, let's go to it then. Let's go. And that was the place, and that ended up being a really great time. We went to the oldest running restaurant in the world. That was an
Wow.
experience. Yeah, it has like a Guinness World Record. It was from the like 1700s, you know.
That's awesome. I remember the pictures you posted in Discord, and that's why I was like, oh, I have to hear about the best food because clearly he was eating very well the entire time.
I'm So I take very people that are close to me understand this. I take very boomer style pictures. Like I'm taking pictures of cars and food, and I'm taking pictures of like oddball stuff. And they're like, "Where'd this come from?" It's like, I don't know. I liked it, so I took a picture of it. I tried to take a picture. There was a Airbnb or a hostel that we stayed at that was on the fifth floor of a room of an apartment building in Madrid that had some of the original stairs from the 1500s, and they were wood steps. And when you went down them and up them, you could see the wood. You could feel it in your on your feet. The wood was that worn out, and the first two or three landings had been replaced, but from there up, it hadn't been replaced. And it was just it was wild to see things like that had been worn for longer than the United States has been a nation. Um, Things that have been there since before non-melanated people were in the Americas. That's wild to think about.
No,
Uh,
it totally is. That's what I like about being in Europe. There's just so much like history there. I guess not all of it great, but like it's a different like atmosphere than here for sure.
right.
I am gonna drop down because I have to get ready to do something, but I
Okay.
haven't been on your panel in ages, and I super appreciate you having me up. And if I crossed any of your boundaries, please send me a DM and tell me to shut the fuck up.
You didn't, and I appreciate you coming up and having a discussion. I saw Mr. Maddie in the comments there at the beginning.
Oh, he was? I
He
missed it.
was. He was. And also, so I haven't had a chance to. I very much appreciate the way that y'all two interact with your Maddie and Mr. Maddie, as in taking on the woman's name, because I feel
Mhm.
like that challenges the patriarchy to the degree that we need it.
Oh, he gets hate DMs about it. Like they get really mad, so it's entertaining. But yeah, I hope to be back on your panel soon. And this was really great. I appreciate you so much. Have an amazing night.
Okay, thank you for coming up. Uh, I've added two people, and I don't know if y'all disagree or agree. I appreciate the gifts and the love. We'll get the gift goal knocked out. If anybody wants to subscribe, that would be great. But I ain't making no pressures or nothing. But what's up? I know I added 90s last, and you said you had genuine questions.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Arch has been up here for a minute. They've been muted the whole time. I don't know if they
that's
want
fine.
to add something or what. All right, there
Oh,
we
I
go.
didn't realize I had muted myself. I was actually waiting for you two to stop your or get done with what you were
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Didn't want to interrupt.
I appreciate that.
So yeah. So I mean, 90s can join in if he wants. I don't mind. I just have a few questions about the whole picture you got up there, right?
Okay. Just
So
in general or something specific?
yeah, just in general, a few things that I find a little um odd. So you have from patriarchy to matriarchy. Patriarchy means, what is that? Domination, or yeah, domination of the fathers. And matriarchy means in the beginning the mothers.
Hmm.
Okay. Not sure I agree with that, but just let's just go down the list of the things you have on the sides, right? Uh, Greed. How is that strictly a patriarchy?
Because the patriarchy excludes a lot of people from the system itself, at least in the management and the power of the system. Do you agree?
No, because I've seen a lot. There's lots of women in power. On top of that,
I didn't say
I
that.
believe that the most qualified person should get the job, regardless of sex, age, gender, or whatever other denominations people want to use.
Cool. So that's a matriarchy, what you're describing.
No, that's just common sense. That's neither patriarchy nor matriarchy.
No, that's the matriarchy. The patriarchy upholds the system of oppression, and I can prove that to you. Just like how many woman presidents have we had?
None. But there's been none voted in, and that's voted in by popular majority vote. So
Because
how is that a patriarchy?
because of misogyny, which is upheld by the
Because
patriarchy.
because of misogyny,
Yes.
when the rules literally have stated that anyone of a certain age could run for president. I'm having a hard time understanding how
If
that's misogyny.
because the system is upheld by that, the same way that we haven't had that many. We've only had one black president. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? And that's because black people as a community have only been able to vote for like a fifth of the amount of presidents that we've even had. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I can understand that, but
Okay, you
how
understand that.
does
So
I
but wait. So that's why we haven't had that many black presidents, right? Is because they've only been able to vote for this amount of time.
no, I don't see how those two things correlate.
I thought that we got there. Um,
No. I mean, I can
so
understand. I no, what I said
if
when
you
I can understand they've only been able to vote for so many so many other presidents. I understand that completely. I
okay,
understand the history behind it and everything. Um,
so if you can't even vote, how do you think that you can even run for that office if you can't even vote for that person?
that's true. But once they got the ability to vote and the ability to run for office,
Oh,
that
you think
doesn't
it's a light
mean
switch? You think it's just
well.
like, oh, y'all got it now, good to go, run it.
That's kind of how a lot of things. That's kind of how a lot of things work. For
Okay,
example, you have on there, what is it? Hierarchy. The definition of matriarchy literally states women above men, and a
no, it
or
doesn't. No,
the
it
yeah,
doesn't. No,
I'm
wait.
looking at the definition right now, my friend. A
It does.
matriarchal society is a societal system where women hold the majority of power and authority and are the primary decision makers in their communities and families. In matriarchal societies, women are often revered as special and have a higher status than men. That's not balance. That is a hierarchy. That is one above another.
Do you see how the circle is right here?
Yes, I see how that circle is.
All right. Do you think that women are going to uphold a system of oppression against men? Are you scared of that?
Am I scared of that?
Yeah.
No. But I will point out that you will have a lot of things on your patriarchy list over there that belong on both. They're not exclusive to each other. They're not exclusive. Correction. They're not exclusive from one another. Individualism. Right. What's wrong with being an individual? What is wrong with individualism?
The system of patriarchy holds up individualism as in kind of what you were talking about with the voting rights. Now that you have voting rights, you should be able to run for president because you can do that now. That's supporting an individualism instead of community.
So you'd rather want to go back to a true democracy where we have a whole bunch of people. They have to get together and vote on everything, and there is no actual clear leader other than a figurehead.
Yeah, that would be fine with me. I appreciate the I appreciate
Okay.
that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like I'm fine working on people's. I work on some vehicles sometimes. You got a lot of background noise. Yeah, I'm fine working on people's vehicles for and not getting compensated for it in a monetary way, as long as we are supporting the community of everyone having a vehicle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see that, but how is but once again, how is that either patriarchal or matriarchal?
Because matriarchy supports that, and matriarchy sets up a system that communal would be like that instead of forcefully oppressing people by the use of economic means of money. Does that make sense?
No. Could you please cite some not facts, but some examples?
well, I just used an example in itself, but like the matriarchy sets that up because women themselves aren't oppressive in that manner, right? That's the word. That's what we're using here. This is the definition that we've got: balance, gift economy. That's what that would mean. The gift economy, like that, right? As in, you do your amount of labor, somebody else is going to do their amount of labor, and all of us collectively together are doing all of the labors. You see what I'm saying? Like I would let's just say that I would work on vehicles for 4 hours a day, right? And somebody else grows vegetables. They grow vegetables for 4 hours a day, and then someone else makes lumber for 4 hours a day, and then someone else teaches children for 4 hours a day, and then everybody, one person, um, you know, cooks food for 4 hours a day. Everyone does their equal amount for everyone to succeed in society, right? No one needs to cook for 4 hours every single day unless they're feeding more people. But instead of them doing it and charging money for those things, I'm not charging money for my working on other people's vehicles. Neither is the person making lumber. Neither is the person watching children. Neither is the person, doing any sort of maintenance somewhere else. It's all in a basis. You see what I'm saying? Like everyone is going to do that together, and
Okay,
that's what
and
patriarchy supports. Now, this is just an idea. This is not. I'm not talking about swapping tomorrow because there are many things. There's many roads you can go down that say things like criminals and people are going to steal and people aren't going to do their fair share and people aren't going to do their part and all that type of stuff. I understand all of those nuances, but what I'm saying is if we think in this manner, we're going to be a lot more successful than in this other manner. Like I run my business in a matriarchal way.
okay, but why would it have to be? Why does it have to be matriarchal or patriarchal? Like, what is why does it have to be female led or male led? Why can it just be a society? Why does it have to have a this term of, oh well, men are bad, women are good, which is
Men have
literally what the
historically
matriarchal
been bad.
patriarchal argument comes down to.
Yeah, men have historically been bad. Do you agree with that?
So if women, can you agree with that?
No. What system has women ran and been in a bad way?
Let's see, England. Now, yes, the most recent queen was a good queen. I don't know much about her. I've never been there.
Wait, do you think that
However, let's look at the number of beheadings. Let's look at Cleopatra.
are those a matriarchal style society? Not a
Yeah,
woman-led society, but a matriarch instead of a patriarch? Because England has always been a patriarchal society, always and forever.
but patriarchal means that a man was in charge during several periods. Men have not been in charge. A woman's been in
No,
charge.
uh, together, collectively, more men have been in charge. The same thing with now. There's like
Yes.
21% of the senators are women, but that doesn't mean that we're not within inside a patriarchy. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree.
Like I live in Alabama, and the governor is a woman, but that doesn't mean that I live inside of a matriarchal society because she is operating inside of a patriarchal mindset. Do you agree?
No, because I don't see the difference between the mindsets. I,
Okay.
I, I don't understand the difference between the mindsets here.
What that's
Like
what the
you're
difference. That's
saying,
why.
you're saying that the matriarchal is a over encompassing mindset where this is all on the central thoughts and how the society should operate, while the patriarchy works off of a tier system where and that's how it should work, correct, through its mindset, where there has to be a hierarchy, there has to be someone above someone else, scarcity. I'm not even sure why scarcity is on there, honestly. Separation, which is division, domination, someone above someone else. Once again, that kind of goes over a hierarchy thing that kind of combines
Yeah. What?
violence.
Yeah.
I
So
understand that men are more violent, but is that a mindset, or is that a genetic thing, or a
do you think
yeah,
that
I'd say genetic
do
thing.
you think that men are genetically violent?
I would say that men are naturally more predisposed to violence than females are. Yes.
Can you just say women? You don't have to say female what? You could just say it's women, right? Because
Well,
it's
women, we can say women, we can say females. I'm sorry, due to part of my life, I have a tendency to, rather than say women, I have a tendency to say female.
that's the patriarchy inside of you. Do you agree?
No,
That's misogyny rooted in you.
no, that's not misogyny rooted in me. That is literally a preference of me saying something.
No, because the system has told you that it's acceptable to call women females. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Female and male are literally descriptive texts.
and you used men and females. You didn't say males and females. You said men. So you humanized the men and you said females. And you didn't give a descriptive. You didn't say female pilot. You didn't say female tree. You didn't say female socket. You didn't say female plug. You said female as in we were supposed to instinctively describe women by their genitalia.
Oh, we're going down that road now.
Well, that's what it all backs to that. You see what I'm saying? Like you humanize men, a grown male person that acts within our society in a certain way. That's a man. But then on the woman side, you just said female. And again, like I said, I'm not harping on that per se. I would like for you to correct it. And I used to be the same way. I'm not saying that I wasn't, but I'm saying that that's conditioning from society to tell men of how we should interact with women. you know. But I appreciate the roses and the gifts and all the love. If y'all want to hit that gift goal, that'd be dope. Um,
So what you're saying is that you're not going to discriminate me by the way I speak.
I'm not. I'm just
My choice of words from what I use, you are now going to discriminate me against me in that way
no,
because I
I'm
chose
not.
to use female rather than women, which to you might have seen it as dehumanizing. I don't see it as dehumanizing.
Well, you can, and so we can go super extreme, and we can say you can say the N word if you want to. I think it's disrespectful. You can say it. I'm not saying that there's not going to be consequences. So you say female. There's consequences within inside my space here that we're going to have that discussion if you don't understand it, right? And that being the case, like I'm taking the burden on because my entire platform it really speaks to a younger me, and I know that that in itself is like self-centered, but like I wish that I would have come across this content 15 or 20 years ago because it would have helped me along the way a lot better. And I feel as though I interact with society in a much better way now than I did 20 years ago. So that being the case, I try to make content geared towards that person. I'm basically self-fulfilling my younger me. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I can understand that.
Yeah, like
I
because I've
will
called I've
I
called
will,
women
for the
female.
purpose of our discussion and our questions, stop using the term female and start using the term woman.
That I would
Is
very
that
much appreciate.
that is what you would appreciate, correct?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not trying to be patronizing here.
Right, I appreciate it. My screen is locked, but as long as you can hear me, we'll keep going.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Um,
Cool. Does
so
90s jump in here?
hmm?
Not 90s. He's
I'm still here. I'm just listening.
okay then. Cool, cool. All right. So what's up, Arch?
So, you know, I'm still I'm not seeing how changing to a matriarchal mindset, which still has hierarchy, it still has domination. How the difference? Oh, did he pause? Is he still here? Oh,
No,
there
no,
he
I'm
is.
still.
Just trying to get your screen back up. I'm assuming. You there? You there? Oh, there you are.
This thing's TikTok has been rough now. Rough, 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 rough. But
Yeah, I can understand that. But as I said, I I'm the thought process. Sorry, I've kind of lost my train of thought there for a second.
you're saying the
Um,
thought process is always going to be like an oppressive system.
regardless of what you call it, yes, because someone's always going to be in control. Something, or someone is always going to be at the top, and there's always going to be lower levels of importance and privilege.
So the more that we can equal that out, the better off that we're going to be, right? And to be honest with you, I don't think that a matriarchal system runs like that. And there's been many examples of that inside of society, ancient and present. So that being the case, like I don't deem it to be that way again. There's been many of societies that have been created, and what we do is we center the individual person as encompassing of all rights. And right now, we don't have that. We have people that are trying to gain access to certain things by moving within inside of an oppressive system, and that's what the patriarchy is. You see what I'm saying?
We're gonna have to disagree that the patriarchy is is that kind of system, because growth, both personal and societal, is based off of the inputs of each individual person, regardless of gender or any other denomination.
No, I mean
I
that's just
mean,
simply not true. If you're trying to deny that the patriarchy is oppressive, because like even the way that we describe it, like we said that women got the right to vote. What made them not have the right before that?
well, men didn't have the right to vote either before for a while.
Okay, and why not?
We Men literally got the right to vote unless you were a wealthy landowner or a senator of some sort. You
So
didn't
you,
have the right to vote. You gained the right to vote
so
through the
you,
draft.
so you were oppressed
Yes,
in the
men were oppressed.
in the patriarchy because the patriarchy is a system ran by men, a select group of men that hold the power over everything else.
And you're assuming that if that a matriarchy wouldn't.
Right. Because we have plenty of examples of that, for one reason why, right? We have plenty of examples of systems running without that interference, without that dominance over a group of people, right? And I'm
Then,
saying that
but
we should try to get more to those things. I didn't exactly make this background, but it just spoke to me because the pyramid in it shows the the system that's built of patriarchy. It runs in that way, and then this matriarchal system has the inner encompassing circle, right? It's a circle society.
which I feel that that is an illusion, because I can almost guarantee you that if you were to tilt that circle on its side, you'd see that it's a cone. And
Mm.
if you were to tilt that, that pyramid on its side, you would see that it would make the same kind of shape as the matriarchy. I feel that that's an illusion.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, I understand what you're trying to say. You know, you're trying to say this is a three dimensional figure just on a piece of paper, but I think that you're getting into semantics. I see the coin gifts. I appreciate that. But Jay had something to add to the conversation real quick. What's up, Jay?
Greetings, good brother. How you doing?
Man, we're making a day of it. We're making a day of it. What
Yes,
you got?
sir. Yes, sir. And speaking of making a day of it, that's why I want to see if I can be kind of brief, because I got a load in the morning that is
Okay.
a terrible hour. I don't know why I'm getting all these early loads. Um, the the case that I would make for the difference between patriarchy and matriarchy, for the most part, is going to rely on philosophy and the philosophical distinctions between patriarchy and matriarchy. They manifest in different views on power, gender roles, social organization, and values, really. See,
Hmm.
while patriarchy, it emphasizes hierarchy, it emphasizes control, it emphasizes competition. Matriarchy, on the other hand, often promotes equality, it promotes cooperation, and respect for nature and the community. These differences not only shape the structure in societies, but it also influence their ethical, religious, and philosophical frameworks. And we have evidence really to show that there are still some matriarchal societies around this world. I can give you 8.
Mm-hmm.
Of
Yeah.
those 8, there are 2 of them that have been around for a very long time. The biggest one is in Indonesia. And the things that I'm talking about, not only from a philosophical standpoint, they are there, but they are there shown in those communities.
They're shown to be a more holistic community, complete together without as much disenfranchisement that we have now.
Very much more egalitarian, very
Mm,
much more.
right.
Would this not kind of
Significantly
come
much
from
more.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh,
Oh, no, I
yeah,
was
you can
done.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead, brother.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm trying to. I don't join multiple lives about this. I'm just trying to get a natural understanding. Being insulted and all that good stuff. But how isn't it that a matriarchal society? How wouldn't it just turn out to be just like a patriarchal society if conflict is in human nature? Unless men are like inherently evil. Like, is it just inevitable that we're just gonna go around trying to, steal and pillage and kill people? Is that the case?
Unalive. Um,
Uh,
no,
yeah, say
that's not the
unalive. You know how TikTok is.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Yeah,
I do think
otherwise,
that's a
sorry.
no. It's okay. I do think that's a wonderful question, but we have evidence of life itself to show that up until this very point, patriarchy has shown itself to, of course, be built by men, idealized by men for the power and control of men for the most part. So when we look at that, just in again the history of life for the overwhelming majority of us, we see that even with the matriarchal societies that are still around, the youngest in which is there are a few in Africa, but the youngest one is in Africa, and they started their community because they were tired of being abused by the men around them. So it is
Mhm.
it's unfortunate that it seems that way, that it seems like a lot of us are born this way, and which I don't think is the case. We are
But why is that?
socialized this way.
Is it socially constructed, or is it
We're
like
social
something that's like on the
Yeah, and a good example of that is to if you a
100% socially
clear
constructed.
yeah, a clear indicator of that is the way that we use race within inside of certain areas. If you're in the deep south, racial conflict is one way. If you're out west, racial
I
conflict
am?
is another way, right? If you go to other countries, racial conflict is in other ways, which means that the social constructs of those areas have developed into a way that we have used race as a separation tool in between different people and stuff like that. So it's very easy to see it in that way because, for lack of a better way of putting it, it's black and white. Like you can just see it, you know. And within inside of certain communities is different. Within inside of certain places and countries is different. Australia has different things than here. England has different things than here. All this type of stuff, right? And like I said, the deep south is different than Texas. Texas is different than Montana. There's all sort of stuff that's going on. There's laws that support race profiling, racial identity, all of these types of stuff. Um, it's a little bit harder to see in men versus women, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's all.
Now, another thing I would say, Nandis, is the social constructs of it all. We can even just look at it from the different countries that are also, run by patriarchy from, one degree or another. Take, for example, America and its prison system, and put that next to somewhere like Denmark and its prison system. When you go to prison in America, for the most part, you're treated like an animal. And
Yeah.
and with that, the people on the outside would rather you be treated like an animal. They don't want you to be comfortable in there. because
Mhm.
that's the way that we view our society. Our society is inherently violent. And of that violence, unfortunately, men are the number one offenders of that. But when you look at somewhere like Denmark, if you've ever seen pictures of what the inside of their prisons look like, their cells look like tiny apartments. and and throughout the day they have activities, they have certain skills that they learn, that they pick up. They have they're heavy on the mental health aspect because they want to actually rehabilitate you to put you back into society. That's why their recidivism rate is so low. In America, ooh, we ain't looking too good. so
Mm.
so yeah, the socialization is of course different from state to state, from country to country, even, I mean, not just country to country, but state to state, even to a degree. But we have to acknowledge that it is socialization. Nobody is actually just born this way. I see the brother at the bottom just came off mute.
Yeah, yeah. Jay, I would just like to state I actually work in a prison. Um, and they're not all like what you're saying. Um,
Oh, look, see, when I say these things, that's why I never use the word all. I wouldn't dare
yeah,
do that. My
Why I
pops worked
speak
at.
yeah.
in
I,
absolutes.
like, I personally work in an area where I am the only officer on in that entire area, and I have earned the respect of all of my charges. I've never worried about getting jumped. I've never worried about things, and I've stepped in the middle of fights to keep them all from doing things, and I've made
Right.
them all lock up when they're supposed to. The
If you
the
don't mind me
issue,
asking really quickly, I'm sorry, and
sure.
I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I do have a point
Oh, no,
for it.
no,
If
no,
you
that's
don't mind me
fine.
asking, without telling me the city or town, and I'll tell you first, I'm in Alabama, like the good brother Jeff. What state are you in?
I'm in Illinois.
Okay. So the only reason why I bring that up is because the state of Alabama, the prison here, the one that most people are talking about, if I'm not mistaken, their prisoners are still trying to find a way to strike against the prison and their conditions there. A lot of them are fed food that I don't even think we would feed pigs. The way that they're treated in their day to day, not only by the guards, but of course by the other inmates. And there are people on the outside who are looking like, well, yeah, of course it ain't safe in prison. It's not supposed to be safe. And the reason we think that way is because of how we're socialized here, because of our violent society. Now, is that to say that every single prison in America is like that? No, absolutely not. Whether it be maximum security, medium, or light, if you will. But we do have to acknowledge that we do have a problem.
And it,
Yes, and I can acknowledge things like that.
well,
I'm just stating that it comes down to the individuals, both the individuals in custody or residence, depending upon which prison you're in or what location in the prison, and the guards or officers, once again, depending upon what state you're in and whatnot. It The biggest issue with them is that it comes down to a lot of them, and I've talked to them. I spend at great lengths. Like I said, I'm the only officer there, and right now I have almost 90 charges that I'm in charge of, and the difference is in how they view authority. Like I didn't walk into my house and say, "Hey, I'm the boss now. You're gonna do whatever the heck I tell you." I walked in there. I said, "Okay, guys, this is how I like to run things. I like to run things off of respect. I'll give you respect. You give me respect. You don't respect me, and I will become the CEO you do not want. I will become the CEO that will run this place like one of the most militaristic prisons you've ever been in."
yeah,
So
but
you
And they
listen,
all
rule, so
agreed.
you
And
ruling under the threat of violence.
yeah,
no, that's
Well,
not the
look,
threat of violence.
I hear you. So it's funny y'all talking about prisons, right? Because I actually came to respond to what 90 said, but I do want to point out Arch your back, that so there was that prison study. I don't know if I can't I can't cite it, but I hope you all know what I mean. Where they had students from the college pretend to be either wardens, CEOs essentially,
Oh yeah,
and
I know
and
that one.
prisoners.
Yeah,
So when
I,
you
I've I've seen the study.
yeah, so then that means you intentionally being disingenuous, right? Because it's odd when we have these conversations and you making it seem like you garnered respect from freaking career criminals because you set boundaries with them that the laws that were set to create those boundaries couldn't do. That's odd to me, but that's neither here nor there. 90s father was asking, wouldn't a matriarchy be just like a prison? I mean, just like a patriarchy. I'm sorry, and I'm like I said, I'm glad you were the guys talking about prison because that's the reference I wanted to make. When we look at the statistics, correct me if I'm wrong, but my last time I looked, I believe that 94% of prisoners were male. And so, to answer your question, 90s, wouldn't societies kind of represent their prison industrial complex, the prison industrial complex? So by that notion, what I'm asking you essentially is if 94% of prisoners are male, right?
Mhm.
That means
Yes.
that only 6% of prisoners are women.
Okay. So
If
my
prisons if prisons if prisons emulated society, do you by that logic think that a matriarchy would still be just like a patriarchy?
well, I would say that the prisoners they would represent a very small portion of society, but
Wait, hold on, sir. That's not
mhm,
but that's not what I'm asking you.
yeah,
What I'm sorry, y'all. I hope I'm not being overbearing. To
no, you
those in the
good.
comments and you, host, what I'm asking you is, if we already see in society that men are extremely violent
Mhm.
and women are not, wouldn't that be represented in a society that was ran by women?
Oh, okay. You're pretty much saying like a pretty much an inverse. Well, yeah, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. That's actually a pretty good analogy you use because there would be, I guess, a reasoning. I mean, there would definitely be a reason as to why women aren't as violent. Why do you think women aren't as violent?
I don't know. I would put it in the context of gracism, if you catch my drift, right?
Mhm.
The expectation with a lot of white tea folks is what it seems to be a fear for a lot of them is that one day black people are going to do to them what was done to us, and everything that we look at historically that was done to us in this country, we've never reciprocated, right?
Mhm.
So when we're talking about matriarchies and women or matrilineal societies,
Oh, okay.
oh,
So
you
you
get my
say
drift. I didn't got to
men?
finish. That's what's up.
Uh, I'm
That's what's
sorry.
up.
What you done? Oh, you were done?
Nah, it seemed like you came to the conclusion before I finished.
Oh
I
yeah,
like.
yeah,
I
yeah,
really.
yeah.
Normally, I don't like when men get there before me, but I'm gonna let you have this.
Okay. Okay. So,
Wow.
oh my bad. Okay. So pretty
He's
much,
saying
I don't know.
playful.
I don't want to go. I'm getting a little deterred. I've been up since like 5 o'clock yesterday. Give me a second.
Well, you
Uh.
can sit down if you
Oh,
need.
okay. Say that last part you said again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I had it, then I kind of lost it.
I said typically I don't like when men come before me, but now I'm playing.
No, right before
No,
that.
I'm just,
Right
yeah.
before that.
That's what fucked you up. See, you such a man, thinking with your second head and not the first.
Oh,
Goddamn.
sorry. I can't hear you.
No, I'm gonna just stop y'all.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. I really want to say
Got
what I
that
wanted to
clear
say.
trip.
I get what she's saying.
But you don't know. I get what 90s is going through because look, I've been up around that same time today too. But
Yes.
but nah. If the sister want to finish because I love to hear Sin speak. I let her go ahead before I say my last little bit before I get out of here.
Now,
Yeah,
that definitely makes a lot of sense. I got a lot of reading I got to do now. Ugh.
yeah.
But that's fine.
So I'm just saying, thank you, Jay. Now he caught my drift and he let me finish. This is what I'm talking about. All right, I'm gonna stop. So what I'm saying is, if societies emulate that is a society, right? When we look at people that's in prison, they represent a portion of our society. So if hey Ryan, you got a bit of an echo or something going on, some background noise.
I'll
It's a little
turn,
distracting.
yeah, I'll turn my mute on.
Thank you, boo. I appreciate it. So what I'm saying is basically, matriarchies would not be like patriarchies
Mhm.
if the roles had been reversed, because as we see it right now, women are not seeking to be hurtful or harmful to men today. Like you don't see think about the worst think about the worst people in society who commit the worst crimes, right?
Yes.
Think about those who are most radicalized in our country. When we talking about radicalized, uh, when we talk about radicalized terrorists, when we talk about radicalized Buddhists, they light themselves on fire, right? So when we talking about that, typically it has a lot to do with the violence. When women are quote unquote radicalized, we are not violent. You don't see women terrorists. You don't see like just to promote feminism, or you don't see that kind of violence being emulated by women to get our rights. We're literally just protesting and marching and trying to affect change in Congress.
Okay.
So what I'm
So how
saying
do
is, if you take that notion and apply it to what a matriarchy would look like, it would be nothing like a patriarchy. Because after all of the years of oppression, I mean, since the beginning of time, women have not fought for their rights from oppression
that's
in that
logical.
way,
That's logical. A
regardless.
lot of men are scared. I mean, from that standpoint, the same way you brought up
Well,
they say white
well,
tea
I'm a
people, a lot of
land.
men would be afraid that what we did to women, they would do unto us.
But men are not afraid of that. But I'm a land real fast because I ain't even trying to tuck your ears off or take over. But logically speaking, I'm not gonna say that. What I will land with this is by any means necessary for when it comes to women. I'm with all the shit. So however you want to do it, I'm with it.
Hmm.
So Jeff, I'm gonna say this, and like I said, I'm a jet man because
Okay.
I got to be a responsible adult and answer to capitalism.
I
Speaking of
understand.
capitalism, I want to. My last 2 points are gonna be on economics and religion, and I'll begin with the economics. And look, well, when I get there, I'll speak on it. The differences with the economic and social organizations, if you will, with patriarchy and matriarchy. The under patriarchy, the economic structures typically favor men leadership and inheritance through patrilineal. I'm just tripping all over that word. Through basically going down through the men, your granddad, your great granddad, all the way down. And what this does is it ensures that property, wealth, status, it remains concentrated in male hands, in the hands of men. Patriarchal societies, they often link male economic control with political and social dominance. And the division of the labor is gendered, with men controlling more, with the money and with the power, political standard, all of that. You talked about it earlier. In this country's long history, we're just now the second time close to having a woman to be possibly president. And
Hmm.
let us not forget, gentlemen, especially us Black American men, even us as Black American men, we were even allowed to vote before women.
Hmm.
And you know how we were treated here. Like
Well,
that.
not the vote, the bank accounts and all that type of stuff, the discrimination in
Oh
that
yeah.
nature. Because white
Oh
women
yeah.
got to vote in like the 20s, 1919 or something like that. White
Yes,
women.
and black men were allowed to vote as early as 1870.
Yeah, that's
Although
right.
we
That's right. They were just able to be
it
discriminated against with like voting,
100%.
uh, literacy testers at the voting booth and stuff like that.
Yes,
Land taxes there. Things of that nature. That's right. That's right. That's right.
100%.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so there was a philosopher, if I'm not mistaken, in Germany. I think his last name is Engels, and he argued that patriarchy arose with the advent, if you will, of private property and the transition from communal to class-based societies.
Hmm.
And what happened is this shift, it gave men dominance as men gained control over resources and women, and those women became subjugated within the family unit. Now, on the opposite side, in matriarchal systems, economic power tends to flow through the matrilineal lines, of course, but the land, the property, the resources, they're often controlled by women or groups of women, which leads to a more communal or collective approach with the wealth distribution. And what you find is, even in those societies, they will still have men in positions of power. And it's not as much on the other side. For the religious point, so that I'm not yapping on, I just say this. Patriarchy start with most of your religions by referring to your highest deity with the pronouns he, him. And whoever it is that you want to serve, your highest being, your higher being, you want to be like, and I grew up Christian, I'm no longer Christian, but the phrase was like Christ. And if you recognize your Christ with he, him pronouns, then there was no way possible a woman could actually get up to that level.
Right.
So when you look at the other religions,
I said that before.
And all right, see, there we go. And when you look at some of the other religions, especially considering Christianity itself is relatively young in the grand scheme of the world's religion, which I think the oldest is Zoroastrianism. Then we get down to Hinduism, Taoism, Shintoism,
Wait,
Judaism,
hold
all
on.
of those.
Zoroastrianism, I can't say Zoroastrianism. That's older than Hinduism. I thought Hinduism was the oldest religion. Well, it's not really fully considered a religion. I thought that was the oldest, I guess, belief system in the world.
But we ain't got to get
That's
into an exact detail as much as just
no,
like
no. It's okay
we
because I
saw
know what he's talking
amen.
about.
Yeah, the amen in the chat instead of an a film in the chat. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like everything's tied together, and that was we went over the female topic earlier, right? But
Right.
a film can be a thing, right? If
Yep.
you know, and
Right.
so like that's fighting the system.
That
Yeah,
like
and,
this
and
this
see
covers.
and see
Ooh.
with that, we take it back and no, you're right. Zoroastrianism and Hinduism for the longest people have been saying, oh well, this one is older, oh this one's older. So I think we collectively just understand they are the oldest. My last point is just in matriarchal societies, as it comes to religion, the beliefs are often centered around female deities or mother goddess. They usually symbolizing something like fertility or creation, the nature of life itself. And the divine feminine in those, they play a central role. Now, I'm not one who gets down into the divine feminine and, masculinity and stuff because those itself are also social constructs. So you have to look at that as well. But understand this, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary individuals, as I walk out the side door, there is a difference between these two. And if you're ever interested in looking up what those matriarchal societies are around the world, like I said, just recently they said it's 8, maybe 9. Some of them have been around for a very long time. The oldest one is in Indonesia. There's one in Akan, Ghana, where the women are in position of power. And sometimes when they see that the men in the society are worthy of it, they will vote him to be in power. But in these societies, they're far less violent. You see wealth being passed around far more equally because they're more egalitarian. So, yeah, if y'all interested in this, man, just sit down with it. Trust me, it's really interesting. But, Jeff, it's always a pleasure, man. I'm going to get out of here. Y'all have a good one.
I appreciate it, Jay. I'm gonna drop you down, but I want you to listen just a second. What I got to say. All right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna. A couple people have been talking about Jay's voice. Of course, both of our voices get stuff. Jay and I are planning on doing not a podcast at all, but a live where it's just he and I having a discussion about a specific topic. Kind of doing a little research on that and just kind of bringing some things to the table to have a discussion about. So if y'all like that type of stuff, or us talking like that, then go ahead and will it just be me and Jay only? I saw United say it, but we're just gonna have a discussion, kind of just Alabama men, Alabama fellas, Southern fellas, something like that, and we're just gonna have a little back and forth, and maybe an hour or something a week, and I'll be putting that on YouTube for us to be able to track, but issues within our current society, where they stem from, what we can do to kind of move the ball to a more profitable society for all of us, right? It'd be great. But anyway, just go ahead, Ryan.
Okay.
Just 1 second, I just gotta peace out. I also have to go to work in the morning.
I
I
got
got
you.
about 5 hours to get some sleep.
Yeah,
It was nice having a discussion with y'all and
I
listen to you
appreciate
guys
it.
talk
Yeah.
and humoring me and you know whatnot. But I'm the one thing I will say is I don't know how to exit the thing. Could you
I'll
kick
drop
me
you
out,
out.
please?
Yeah, yeah, I can drop you out. I appreciate you being here, and I know the capitalism flag calls. We all got to answer it. We don't like it, but
Yep.
be there.
All right,
Real
deuces.
fast,
I
just to
definitely
interrupt
appreciate the
Ryan.
education.
Real fast, y'all. I just want to say Archibald couldn't find the mic because it looked like a quit.
No, boy, that's bad. Boy, don't beat up on that man like that. He ain't even here no more.
Oh boy, that bad business.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, but
90s.
I don't know
You
if I'm preaching to the
Oh, I'm
choir
sorry. You said what?
again,
you gonna stick
but
around 90s, or you got to go?
Oh boy, man. Sadly, I gotta go to work too and deal with these people.
I understand. I understand. I understand. Capitalism flag be calling all of it.
Yeah, but
I ain't
I
got to be
definitely
tomorrow.
appreciate it. Y'all definitely taught me a lot, and I would definitely be using this to grow further, especially what I want to do in my life.
Well, cool. Hey, I said that you follow me. Like I said, we try to have these discussions and try to just bring it back together and see where we can go into the future where we're not disenfranchising more individual people. Right?
Yep, taking that ego out the way. I love it.
That's it. That's it. Thank you, fella.
All
All right, Ryan. What's
I. So I don't know if it's now a little bit preaching to the choir, but I did want to add, like a lot of the stuff that we know about the matriarchy, obviously can be traced back, in history with archaeological evidence, and a lot of the stuff that I was going to talk about was already covered. One of the things I did want to talk about, though, even saying matriarchy because it's so similar to patriarchy is sort of misleading, since matriarchy would be, even in practice, is slightly more egalitarian. It's more like matrilineal rather than matriarchal, because it's not the same type of oppressive society.
right?
And while there is some hierarchy, it's more based on, usually it's more based on experience and elders rather than gender-based type of things. But, and just to talk about, like, and I know you said you didn't pick the image in the background, but
Right.
when we do talk about these things, I always want to say we have to be careful not to hold women, or to say that women are too high of a standard, in the sense that women are humans too. And even in matrilineal societies, there is still instances of war, or instances of violence when resources are threatened. Yeah. And women are, when necessary, capable of violence, whether it's, being a part of that violence or requesting violence. There are some women who are built to want to protect the tribe. That's the way some humans are wired, like in their brain, they're the type that is built that wants to protect the tribe. And that's the way they're made. And I feel sometimes women are too. As somebody who served in the military, for whatever reason, that was the way my brain was wired. And obviously that was a heavily patriarchal society. So I know what it's like to to operate within, as a woman within a heavily patriarchal society, and what that does to women in those societies, and how it destroys those relationships between women. But another thing to talk about matrilineal societies is, and I know some men are possibly not going to like the way this sounds, but a woman who has been removed from a strong patriarchal influence, a patriarchal society influence, women's leadership style is typically better for leading than a typical male style, because it's more collaborative and it's more bringing together, listening to voices and working together. And there's less of an idea of who is better and dominance and competition, and more of what can we do together to get this solved. Where on the male side, typically, there's more of a dominance aspect. Now, I do wonder how that would look in an egalitarian society. I wonder how men would act if they weren't in a patriarchal society. Would they have that same dominance, that push for dominance? Is that an evolutionary trait, or is that purely societal? You know,
Can you hear me?
that I don't know.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm froze again, so I'm gonna exit the app again. I appreciate somebody got the thing knocked out, but I'm gonna exit the app. I'm hoping that everybody's gonna stay here.
I don't know what's happening.
It just
Who's going
froze.
to try and refresh the app?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see someone says we know indigenous people still exist in our matriarchy. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see someone says we know indigenous people still exist in our matriarchy. Recently did a study that discovered that women were heavily involved in hunting and gathering. Or in hunting,
Yes.
we used to say that it was just women did the gathering and men did the hunting. Now we found out that women were heavily involved in hunting and actually had a better success rate because they did collaborative hunting. And the most valued hunter in the group usually was the grandmother, because she had more experience. And that would be somebody who you would go to help you hunt, and she was going to be the better hunter. Which
Yeah,
I
it's
found
actually it's worse than that.
worse.
Sorry, it's actually worse than that. They not only have found that because the conditioning of men being more individual and competitive in order, socially conditioned to be competitive, that men are more individualistic hunters. And so their success rate is a lot lower. They also don't cooperate at a better rate. So their success rate was lower. So when they actually started being able to get data on what our digestive systems were like, evolutionarily, it was primarily through gathering and not through hunted meat. It was fish, berries, and then eventually agriculture. And that, yes, and indeed, women are more efficient hunters because they're able to work in a group better. So, this idea that men are the hunters and the protectors and the providers throughout time that we get sold this lie, it's completely unfounded, and is also a show of how archaeology and historians are also so heavily influenced by the patriarchy that women are literally erased throughout
Oh,
all of history.
absolutely. Yeah, they could look at the grave. I mean,
Yeah,
if we look at the graves of what we now call Vikings, whenever they found women, they'd be like, "Oh, she must have been buried with her husband." Whenever they found
right.
swords, or like the like. But going to what you said, I've read the same study, and it really, I'm still struggling with this question, and I'm trying to look at other intelligent animals to try to draw a comparison. So if men are solitary hunters and aren't as successful hunters, it then brings the question of what is their role, their evolutionary role in intended evolutionary role in society. So like when we look at let's say a horse herd, we usually have a stallion, obviously, but you also have a head mayor, and the head mayor is really the one who kind of runs things.
Yeah.
The
Well,
stallion is the one who keeps away other males. And it's
but
the same thing with a
Yeah.
pride, right? The lionesses run things, and the male
Ryan,
keeps away other
but Ryan,
men.
I don't like to use those exact scenarios though, because I don't like to compare us as people to animals for a few reasons. I think that it's dehumanizing, and I also think that we've surpassed that primal need of survival itself. I think that anytime that we try to use nature to support us as humans, like it's a real way of saying that we're not an evolved beings, kind of
Well,
thing.
okay, so then I'm sorry.
Right.
I could use elephants and orcas
Yeah,
because there's no way we can't say that they're highly intelligent sentient beings.
yeah, and they are 100%, but like they don't fly planes, they don't talk on the internet, like all of that type of stuff. So like what I'm saying is like even if we came from that, we should technically be even further past that because we're the only ones that understand that elephants and orcas have that amount of understanding and relate it back to us, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like so even if we related ourselves to them, we technically should be way past that. But from the oppressive system of thousands of years of patriarchy, we haven't, right? And that's kind of where I break it down at because, of course, everyone's going to try to, not everyone, but people from the other side that don't, it sounds like the panel is mostly friendly. People from the other side are going to use bad animal examples. They're going to say alligators and all sorts of mess. And then you're just going to get onto the arguing semantics of animals.
No, I understand what you're saying. That's why I didn't mean to bring horses. I'm an equestrian, so
Right,
obviously
yeah,
horses come to my head first. But I usually try to say elephants and orcas because they're highly intelligent and they have rituals, practices, free time, their own individual languages,
Right.
cultures, stuff like that. That you then can wonder if they're both are led by a matriarch, although they seem to be more egalitarian, and the role of the males is defense. So I'm
So,
wondering,
so
is that
Ryan,
what early humans were like, and is that still left over?
so Ryan, when they do their studies, like biologists and stuff, the people that study animals and the people that study people, they find that there's literally no link. Like there's almost no link consciously on how we raise our children, how we mate or like find partners to mate with. Like rather more so, so that's why I think it's probably just important to leave animals out of it. As like
Yeah,
you
okay,
said.
we could do that. It's just I've just been trying to find
Yeah, I
the
heard you,
link or
girl,
trying to
but
wrap my mind around it.
Right.
I hear you, and I'm not even trying to but
Right. I do want. I don't think Munchies has added in yet. Have you?
No, I haven't, but I also respect people talking and
Yeah.
folks are bringing up good points. And so, I'm not going to jump in and interrupt nobody because Never is not going to be able to tell me that I came first. Never in the history of ever.
Right.
I did want to just bring up one last point, and then I'll
Cool.
hop out. I think Jay was talking about it, which I found very interesting. Like he was talking about how the Neolithic Revolution is really what brought about the rise of patriarchy, and which is obviously the rise of agriculture, because the rise of agriculture is what brought about being in a sustained area, and then brought about property. And once you have property, obviously you own things, and that's how you begin to own women, which then has a lineage, and so on and so forth. But before that, we have strong evidence that we worshipped, the first gods that we worshiped were women. And the oldest goddess that we know in history, meaning written history, is a woman, being Inanna from Summer, or the Sumerian. That's like the oldest goddess. And then we also know from early Egyptian history and early Mesopotamian history, you could see the evidence of more egalitarian, and even actually Persian history as well. You see egalitarian culture and how that slowly is pushed out. It's very fascinating if you read the older stuff, and then how the society changes from egalitarian with women having so much power, and then shifts out of that. Although Persian women for a long time maintained power.
Well, the
which
thing
obviously shifted.
the thing that I try to steer away from, though, I see that you have historian in your background, right? In your,
Yes.
but I think that it's important to study those types of things, but it takes a learned individual to understand those and apply them to present day. So I try to stay away from having a discussion. Of course, I'm not very educated either, so I can't even pretend like I've got some type of degree or something like that. But I try to leave out some ancient things because just the way that civilization is now compared to then, right? There was education and oppression and all these types of things that weren't good. I mean, if you think about it in terms of time frame, slavery happened like yesterday, like chattel slavery, and then it's still going on today in capitalism, in a type of, right. I don't even like to relate those two because that takes away all of the physical harm and unaliving of what slavery happened inside the United States. Trying to compare those two, but we just separated it a little bit enough and gave people some rights, which is a very colonizing way of thinking about it, and then said y'all should be good and dang enough. And that's a great segue into Brandon said that the patriarchy hasn't existed for 40 years inside the United States. And I think that is a prime example of someone not understanding what the hell's going on.
I mean, well, yeah, I mean, the patriarchy's existed for what,
About
3,000
5,000
years?
years.
Yeah.
3,000 years now? 4,000?
5,000.
Well, I would argue less than
5,000.
5,000 because, like I said,
No, because the advent of Judaism, we're in the year 5,000 something for that, so it's about 5,000
no,
years.
Judaism came around 1800 BC is
Yeah.
when
A long time.
Abraham, yeah,
I'm speaking
Abraham,
as a Jew, and we're in the 6,000th century for Jews, so it's about 5,000 years.
well, it's 1800 BC. I mean, yeah, I mean, we could squabble over numbers, but
We ain't got a long time, right? A long time, longer than we've ever been here, and longer than we'll ever be here, right?
and we could also argue that Judaism wasn't originally patriarchal either. I mean, it had God had a wife and all of that too. So
Yeah. That's the late night history topic right there. But
So I'm really sorry that those two gentlemen and the Incel Supreme left, because I wanted to bring up specifically because they were going back and forth about the prisons and things like that. The fact is that you cannot separate the patriarchy from white supremacy and capitalism. They are all interconnected, and unfortunately we are so stuck in a capitalist society. Obviously, like, you can't just stop buying things and paying for things, but you can work on unpacking the other two and doing your best to dismantle those systems. The patriarchy has been around for the last 40 years, as we have seen in the most recent Supreme Court ruling of telling women that their bodies do not belong to them. And in that instance, we should start saying that you should be forced to donate organs to people because the other people need it more. That's the patriarchy. An argument that I've also seen coming up, talking about, women aren't violent. Yes, we are. We're very violent. But we tend to be violent in situations where we're defending ourselves or our loved ones. Women are absolutely in prison for violent crimes.
That is actually what I had come up here to add on.
Yeah.
Basically, and I understand that women are supposed to be, this is said in air quotes, viewed as the gentler sex, but I kind of feel like people who say that maybe haven't really met women. Because a lot of the most defensive and badass people I know are women. But outside of that, I mean, you guys have already spoke on, how a lot of matriarchal tribes and different things like that, a lot of them are, and please excuse me if I mispronounce this word, I have a horrible list. The word that was said earlier with an E. That one.
Egalitarian?
Yes, thank you. And I'm honestly a little bit interested in kind of hearing Brandon's opinion about something that he had mentioned in his in the comments.
Yeah,
because
we're gonna.
I kind of disagree with a couple of things. So I would like for him to explain a little bit further on that, honestly.
Yeah, we're finna get to. Does anybody on the panel want to drop while we got it? Because I'd be
I
anxious.
could I could drop. Yeah, that's fine. I
Okay.
enjoyed the conversation. This was a very lovely live. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming up, and I appreciate the follow. And if there's a topic, which let me make an announcement because I ain't did this the whole time. But if anyone is on Discord, I have a link in the bio to get to Discord, YouTube. I think the Gram's on there. Uh, I think my backup TikTok is on there. If anybody wants to follow and have those types of chats and that type of stuff, then by all means, let's do that. I take live submissions and ideas on Discord so we can, have a conversation about a live that you're interested in, if you would
I'd
like.
l- I'd love to do a women in ancient history
Oh,
and prehistory
right.
and religion.
I'm about to say, I might not have the depth for that right off, but that's not that we can't have that conversation.
Well,
So
I'm about to
Okay.
give you some.
yeah,
Yeah, we could lead it.
So,
All right.
all
Thank
right.
you for
so
having me.
one of the arguments that people like Arch or whatever his name was, Incel Supreme, that they're making right now, because we know historically that men do cause wars, right? Like every war that we know of, a man was involved some way, somehow. There's a new research paper out, and I don't remember if it was Harvard or Yale, but it's one of the bougie elite ones.
One of the seven
That
sisters,
actually,
surprisingly.
yeah. But it did a deep dive into actually looking at queens throughout history, and it showed that statistically, queens are more likely to actually declare war. Now, this paper very specifically talks about the fact that these queens are operating in a patriarchal structure. And as queens, usually very young women, they're going to be viewed as weaker. And so they go on the offense immediately instead of having to be on the defense.
Well, actually,
And so these,
I read that.
go ahead.
I read that too, and here's what I got from it: the queen's husband was the head of the army, like he went into battle, and I was like, she probably just wanted to get him out of the house. She probably just like, would you go fight somebody? Would you go
He
somewhere?
kept bothering her.
Get out of my hair, please.
Stop touching me.
He's probably trying to run the castle, and she's like, this is my shit. You don't get to make the decisions here. He's like, oh, you know what?
Stop trying to hang the boar's head there.
You go over there and go argue with them on horseback, and I'm gonna be doing the castle stuff. All right, I got the house. You don't worry about it. That's what I got from the.
I see that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that too. But it just I found it interesting because I was like, of course women are gonna have to declare war in a patriarchal setting. Like they don't have a choice. If they were surrounded by a bunch of other queens, a bunch of other, or in a matriarchy at all, then they wouldn't be declaring war. They wouldn't be sending people to die because it's why.
Right.
We need food.
Just don't
People need their children and their, like we don't need to do that.
Right. But
So
I'm gonna. You said you want to drop down or no?
I'm done now. That was the last bit.
Gotcha. I appreciate you coming up, and the same thing. Like I said, we're gonna have these discussions more and more. So please come back. Brandon, you were saying some problematic stuff in the chat, so I invited you up.
You can call it problematic if you want.
Why do you think you need to stand on your business? Why do you think that the patriarchy doesn't exist?
The patriarchy doesn't exist. Not in the U.S.
Define what the patriarchy is, please.
No, I'm not defining what the patriarchy is. I'm defining as y'all define it. What the patriarchy is by your standards is that everything comes from the man. Everything is owned by the man.
That's not what
the man does not own everything today.
So therefore, you don't know what the definition of patriarchy is, which is okay. You as a man, I don't expect you to know that.
Jeffrey,
So basically, your argument is semantics.
No, it's just the facts that in the United States of America, women can own their own property. Women are fully capable of owning their own jobs. Women are fully capable of voting. What exactly are women lacking?
Okay,
Are you aware of insidious intent, or are you aware of what the word insidious means? Just to start there.
Yes, I'm aware of what insidious means.
Okay. So usually whenever things are insidious, they're not obvious. So yes, women are now allowed to vote. Women are allowed to own property. Since the 70s, they've been allowed to have a bank account and different things like that. They're allowed to get divorces and, not be shunned from their whole community. But the underlying message of it, the underlying societal issues are now if a woman does this, oh, she's a bitch. Or, if your wife doesn't give you kids, what's wrong with her? Or if your wife is having issues with her uterus and wants to get it taken out, she needs her husband's signature. You don't find that a little male led?
I find that to be just society as a whole.
And so, circling back to what you said about excuse me,
that's about
patriarchy not existing, wouldn't that lead more towards a patriarchal society, a culture?
Does it lead to it, or are we? Okay, are we saying the patriarchy is domination of the father?
No. So to define the patriarchy in simple terms is a system that's set up where men mostly have the power and exclude women. Women are mainly excluded from power. Do you not agree that that's the case?
Okay. Help me understand here. How are we in a male-led society as of today?
It's 2024, and instead of people complaining about Kamala Harris's policies, they're worried about her being a woman and what race she is and how she talks to people.
I don't know who you're speaking to or who you've heard that from, but most of the time when I ask around about anybody who's a politician, it's about policy and lack thereof. So I don't know where you get with that.
Take a crack at it real fast. Can I just take a crack at it? Brandon, Sigmund Freud said men will always say they don't know people, like the people that are doing the most egregious shit. But that's neither here nor there. When Munchies explained to you, you were like, when she explained to you kind of like what patriarchy looked like, you kind of dismissed it, and you were like, but that's a function of society. When she talked about the rights, women having the rights of autonomy over their own body, you was like, that's a function of society, not so much so a patriarchy. But if it was a function of society, then there would be laws in that prevent men from having autonomy over their bodies. So I'll ask you this, and then I'm probably going to drop, because I know how you feel, Jeff. It's getting a little crowded up here. I got you. If that were the case, what laws currently exist that prevent men from having autonomy over their bodies?
Prevent men from having autonomy over their bodies? Just okay.
For example,
No, munchies. No, let him answer. And I'm not trying to be rude. So I apologize.
I need better definition of what autonomy you're talking about. Are you talking
Okay, so
about?
your wife tells you that you have...
munchies. Because you explained it to him already, and he's being disingenuous. And he's
I'm
making
legitimately.
hold on, Brandon. I'm just talking to munchies real fast.
I'm legitimately questioning what you mean by autonomy.
He's making you do the emotional and mental labor for him when you literally already gave him
Okay, so no.
two examples of how women don't have autonomy over their own bodies. So now he's just gaslighting and being disingenuous, and I just wanted you to peep that. So when I wasn't trying to be rude when I was telling you let him answer. So let him continue to show us his character in 4K.
Right. And while we're showing that character, Miss Andrew has a question right quick, just that she wants to present.
Yeah, I'd love to know if we don't. Thanks for having me, fella, and hello everybody.
Oh, it's Miss Andrew.
Shut the fuck up, Brandon. I'm not done with my question. You can speak when I'm done.
No, you can shut up right now. I don't.
No, thank you. I want to ask you a question, and maybe you can prove your point. Maybe you can prove your point, Brandon. I want
Jeffrey,
to
I'm gonna
know
go if you keep it up.
if we don't live in a patriarchal society, how come it's not 22 little boys every minute that becomes a child bride? If we do not live in
Holy
a
shit! Why
hold
is
on,
there? Okay, let's
I
talk
want to
about
repeat
22 men
myself to make
dead.
sure you hear me, sweetheart. If we do not live in
We're
a
done.
patriarchal society, how come instead of 22 little girls becoming child brides every 60 seconds, it's not 22 little boys? If we live if in a matriarchal society or not under a patriarchal regime, why is it not that 22 little boys get wed off to their perpetrators every 60 seconds? I'll wait.
I'm gonna get this real comfortable for you. You're talking about the world. If you want to talk about the world as a whole, you're not going to change the whole world. Okay. Now I was talking about the United States of America. You all wanted to pull up, oh, he's gaslighting, he's weaponized obtuse, or something like that. I am sick to death of hearing this constant diatribe. You all don't
Oh,
even
hold on,
have the
Brandon.
fucking
TikTok's friendly
responsibility.
language. Wait, you can't say the
No,
D
no, 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 no,
word.
no. You said you
No,
wanted
no,
to
no.
have me
All right,
speak.
I don't
Now
want
you
you to
want
get
me to
his
speak.
live.
Am I
I'm
going
just
to
telling
speak or
Brandon,
what?
Brandon,
I'm
you need to
just telling you,
listen.
you have to say
No,
unalive. I'm
I didn't
telling
think so.
you,
Okay, we're gonna talk over me. That shows the
Brandon.
fuck. That shows your fucking mindset right there.
Son, relax. You're so
Brandon,
emotional. I'm
nobody
just
has
saying
cussed
you.
this whole time. Do
So
you really have
emotional.
to use that kind of
So
He
language
emotional.
to finish?
emotional. He
You
emotional.
you need your
All
diaper
I'm saying,
changed.
See, and
all
there,
I'm
and
saying is
no,
you,
see, now
Brandon. All
this
I'm
right there,
saying is you have to
and
say
this is where it
unalive.
really upsets me. This is where it really upsets me. When a man expresses
Brandon,
frustration,
Brandon,
when a man
Brandon,
frustrates,
Brandon. You're acting like I'm cutting you off. I'm giving you information. You cannot say the D word. You have to say unalive so you can protect the host's TikTok. That's all I'm telling you. But because you up at these lonely man epidemic hours and nobody's touched your wee wee in years, you're quick to
Jeffrey,
anger.
you're really gonna sit here and allow this?
Not the
Okay,
Jeffrey.
so
Well, hold
This
on.
is your
outside,
tick. This is your
It's a
outside
TikTok live,
weird,
of
Jeffrey.
weird.
You're really gonna allow this. You're gonna allow this.
wait,
You really gonna
wait,
allow
You
that.
need a man to come
Everybody,
save you, Brandon.
mute up.
You need a man to come save you.
This is
outside
his
of that,
TikTok
there's
live.
no.
This is his TikTok. It's his group chat. It's his little followers, Miss Andrew. So you can hush.
What was that
Jeffrey,
energy when
answer
I
me
called
this.
you
Outside
Answer
names,
me
of
Brandon?
this.
To
I'm
be
Are
telling
fair,
you
you
they're
going
my
to
now.
sit here
followers
and
too.
allow
They're my
this?
Can
followers
everybody
too.
mute,
I'd say they're
please?
our followers at this point. Who the fuck are you, Brandon?
Jeffrey, are you going to sit here and allow this?
Can everybody mute up, please? Real quick. Yeah, great. Thank you. First off, I don't think that these are my followers as much as these are my friends. These are my people that I have discussions with, and I actively try to move the needle.
These are your
On,
friends.
I
These are
don't.
your
We
friends.
didn't say unmute, Brandon, right? So like, I'm just having a. I'm talking out loud, right? Into the abyss. If your ears want to hear it, cool. And if they don't want to hear it, close out the little T app and go yourself to bed or whatever you want to do. But I find it to be funny that you're the only person that can't stay muted. You're the only person that can't let someone talk. You're the only one that is taking personal attacks on things and getting upset about it. You're the only one that is getting upset about the words that are being said. And I think that draws some similarities to maybe some personal things that's going on. Like I said, I'm not upset about these stats and this lonely man epidemic. I'm not upset about it not being a patriarchy anymore. I'm not upset about women gaining rights and freedoms that they actively deserve. I'm not upset about minorities gaining access to higher positions inside of our society, because I know that those people will do right by society. They've been disenfranchised long enough, and we as a group of people need to make sure that we aren't continuing to step on people's heads. We're not stepping over people. We're not talking over people. We're allowing everyone to sit at the table. But when people act out of line at the table, they'll probably be ostracized a little bit. And now we can talk.
That's your
Before you,
mindset.
um, before you get into that, I understand you unmuted. You were ready to go, which shows you were ready to reply instead of listening. I haven't talked to you disrespectfully. There's no reason for you to cuss. There's no reason for you to do any of the stuff that you just did. This is a debate. we are talking about different things. If you're not able to handle that, I don't know what to tell you, but I ask that you give me the same respect that I gave you, because I'm actively choosing to be nice and be respectful. I don't have to be.
See, it all can be so gravy, and we can all realize that.
Gravy, gravy.
Yeah, gravy. Yeah.
Made it look like you choked cats as a
I tell you what.
kid.
I tell you what.
I'm happy to also bring
I'll
up
tell you what. No,
stats
no,
about
no. I'll tell you
America,
what. I'll tell you
though.
what.
Just
Munchies. I
Brandon,
apologize.
if you want
Munchies.
to
I
focus on
apologize.
American statistics, we can do that too. I don't think I'm the only one that came prepared or happens to actually just know, as somebody who lives in America, at what rates violence is perpetuated against us. So at your own behest, and to try to get things back onto cue, like everybody else has so gently tried to do with you. I'm fresh out of baby wipes, so if I have to change your diaper, you're not going to like it. I'm trying to adhere to the host's
I swear to
rules of
God in heaven,
engagement.
you all
But
got
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
infantilizing.
If you don't like the
You got
way
this
I'm,
infantilizing
listen,
thing, and it's really fucking
there you
tiring.
go. There you
It's really
go.
tiring. It's
Well,
really
then
tiring.
stop acting like you need a good burp and a good spanking, and people will stop talking to you like this.
Stop talking like you're fucking know-it-alls. How about that?
Brandon, you came up here on 10 to the host, bro.
I
Like,
mean,
relax.
The
to
host
be
invited
honest,
me.
my student loans definitely give me a little bit of know-it-all. But I mean, go off, Brandon.
The
Jeffrey,
host
you don't
invited
get to talk
me.
to us
I
like that,
accepted the
Jeffrey.
invite, and I stated the. Excuse me, can I please speak? Why is the
Jeffrey.
moderator?
I'm gonna start calling you Jeffrey.
You was calling him Jeffrey, Miss Sandra. He
But
was like, Jeffrey.
Brandon, do I know you in real
just
life? Do I know you in real life?
Why in God's name is everybody muting me when I'm trying to speak?
That ain't God. That's Satan, man.
That
That's the devil.
no. This is why in God's name is it that every single time I try and speak, the moderator mutes my phone to frustrate me even further.
Your phone gets
maybe
muted by a
it's
moderator? Damn, that's some
maybe it's
advanced
Nat Turner.
technology, dude.
Yeah.
I was almost gonna say it was in Nat Turner's name, but it's a new day, so we're on a new thing with Hoodoo Heritage. But
Yeah.
hey,
How,
maybe the people that run the live were trying to get you to take a breather, take a breath, because you obviously are a little frustrated. And I get it's frustrating to have people talk over you, but you want to know who also experiences
You
that
want me to
a
control
lot?
my reactions. You want me to control my reactions.
I
Okay,
mean,
let's
I'm doing it actually pretty well, and you've cussed at me and all kind of stuff, and I haven't lost my mind.
mm-hmm.
So, like I was getting ready to say before, you just very rudely interrupted me. You were talking about how you don't really see patriarchy in American society. What you're exhibiting right now is having to deal
something
with
about a
your emotional.
roundabout. I swear to God. Are you guys gonna
It's
let me
not
speak?
a roundabout. If
No,
you will let me finish,
okay, there we go. Then you want to make a hierarchy of your own.
I mean,
Well,
if I
perfect.
have my
If you want
own
to make it a
way,
hierarchy of women, then just say so.
it wouldn't necessarily be of women. I like men. There needs to be a few of you to make babies.
It's
So
funny because every single time that I try and speak, you guys are the ones talking over me and then saying,
I've been the only one talking for like the past 2 minutes. You can breathe just a little bit. No one's being mean to you. I'm simply
Jimmy, I know that
expressing a point,
viewpoint.
and
I'm
then you
playing.
can talk. I promise you, I'm almost done. I'm literally landing the plane. But you know that feeling you're having right now of feeling frustrated because everyone's talking over you? It's related to patriarchy, darling. It's related. That's patriarchal.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
100%.
really? So interrupting me and down talking to me and basically being emotional bullies, that's your idea of the patriarchy.
I haven't even begun to do anything that could be considered bullying at all. But if you feel that way,
Never Sin and Miss Andre, a whole different story. Your commenters, a whole fucking different story.
I mean, her name is Miss
So
Sandry. What do you
I guess
expect me to
when you
get out
say
of her,
welcome
boy?
to our world, you act as though I haven't already lived this for
But
years.
why are you taking out way I treated you on other people?
Whoa,
That was
whoa,
the
whoa,
question.
whoa, whoa.
I think you're missing, like,
It's not just
you
you,
and I
Miss
have
Andre.
history,
It is
Brandon.
not just you.
You
It
and
is
I have
not just
history,
you.
but since I've been here, you're not even listening to Munchies. Munchies is trying to let you, like, remind you that they've been really, really kind to you and considerate. And you're up here taking your emotional frustrations on my existence and our past. The fact that I've quite literally rejected you multiple times. The second I came up here, your tone of your octave, your speaking voice went up 2 octaves as soon as I got up here before I even spoke.
Yeah,
You're
you've
taking
been
this out
banned
on
how many
everyone
times?
else.
You've
Why
been banned
can't
how
you
many times off
control
this app?
yourself, sweetheart?
You've been banned off this app how many times? 5 times? At what point do
I've
you?
never been
At what point does
permabanned.
the
I've
banning
never been
finally get through to your
permabanned.
head
I've
that
never
maybe
been
you've done?
permabanned. I've never been permabanned.
Well, gee whiz, I must be missing something because every single time I see you, it's a
He said
different
gee
fucking
whiz. I
page.
haven't heard that one in like a
You
decade.
you
I mean, how
might
many
be.
times do you have to get banned in order before you finally stop and think, gee, maybe I actually
When men
haven't been
stop
growing?
expecting me to lick their pickles, then maybe.
So
I'm not
Brandon,
expecting you to lick
So
anybody's
hey,
pickle,
hey,
but okay.
Brandon, because you pivoted
If
something
you pick
crazy,
off, fine,
right?
but don't fucking look at me and say, "Oh, gee whiz, it's because I've never been permabanned." At some
Okay,
point, you would think that
You're pivoting
somebody
from the
would say,
topic.
"Gee, if I've been banned this many times,
He just
maybe
came
I'm
up here.
pushing on the wrong people."
I've watched Brandon gaslight the host. I've watched him gaslight Miss Andrea. I've watched him gaslight everybody up here. And he did everything except answer the 4 questions. The one Munchies asked, the one I asked, and like 2 or 3 Miss Andrea asked. So I'm gonna try to take a shot at it again, Brandon, because I know that is super important for your voice to be heard. I'll ask you once more. What laws currently exist in American Congress, right? In the American Congress that prevent men from having autonomy over their own bodies?
Okay, fine. You want to say, okay, what laws prevent men from having autonomy?
No, what laws exist that currently in America that prevent men from having autonomy over their bodies?
Th- I couldn't think of one right off the top of my head. Thank you very much.
Are there any?
That checks out.
Stop it, Jeffrey.
I mean, if you would like examples from the other side, I can give you about 3 different states
So
for women.
Munchies, please.
You got it, sis.
No, I'm saying please give us your examples from the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were saying something entirely
I
different.
want to hear more from
So,
Monkeys.
in the state that I'm in right now, Tennessee, you do need your husband's signature to have your uterus removed. They have anti-abortion laws. I believe it is also the same thing in Texas and Oklahoma, 2 other states that I have also lived in. And none of these states share the same government. They all have their own individual state government and their own individual state rights.
And so
So,
Munchies.
state government and their own individual state rights.
And so
So,
Munchie abortions, do they prevent, do they ban help with absolutely nothing to do with abortions, or do they also prevent women from getting life-saving DNCs?
well, thank you very much for asking that, Sen. Is it all right if I call you Sen? But
Yes, baby.
yes, yes, they do. They deal with ectopic pregnancies, which, and I do apologize if I'm sounding like I'm talking down to you, because not
Yes,
everybody,
yes.
knows what
Munchies,
that is.
are
Hmm?
ectopic pregnancies viable pregnancies? Can those babies live? Have any
No,
um
ma'am.
have any babies ever survived the ectopic pregnancy?
As a person who has suffered from one of those, no.
Same sis. And yeah, so Brandon, is there anything like that for men?
No, because men don't. Okay, well, unless no, men don't have to consider dealing with pregnancy.
Have
I've
men?
never.
I have another one, Brandon. I have another one. Can you handle one more?
Go ahead.
Can men get cancer from a woman ejaculating inside of them? Because women can.
That must be a new study, but
Oh,
okay.
no, that's not new, sweetheart. It just doesn't happen enough. You don't give a fuck enough about women to know that. But women can't ejaculate inside of other women.
No,
Men can, though.
I
However,
really do
deposit
wish that you
semen
would
into
stop
women's
assuming, Miss
bodies.
Andrea. I
Wait,
really do
Brandon,
wish you would do that.
Brandon, she not
Brandon, this is
assuming. You
real.
literally just said you don't know. And HPV can be called, yo, what? Men, men are carriers, right?
There's a difference.
Why wouldn't, sir, why wouldn't you know about something that you could
between
carry?
ignorance and arrogance.
I'm not even talking about HPV, but that's a good one. That's an important one too. I'm actually talking about molar pregnancies. A man can deposit his semen inside of a woman's body, and that can cause a phantom pregnancy, which can lead to uterine cancer. I'm a survivor of choriocarcinoma. The only reason I know this can happen is because it happened to me. Only a man can give a woman cancer through his semen by ejaculating inside of him. Only somebody, I'm sorry, I rephrased that. And only people with semen can do that.
And it wasn't me that did it, so I'm sorry.
No, but that's your.
She's not personally blaming you. Now, I'm assuming you two have some history since you know how many times that she has made accounts or whatever. I think that's a little strange, but whatever gets you off at night. But in situations where someone is explaining something that they've gone through and it happened to have happened because of a male, you don't have to immediately go into the response of, well, I'm sorry. We know you didn't do it. I don't imagine she would touch you with a 10-foot pole.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when we're sorry, Munchies.
I was just going to ask very briefly, just to kind of understand maybe some context, personal context for you, Brandon. Are you married, or do you have
Okay,
a
you know what?
partner?
I'm going to say this
Nah,
one time. The one time I'm not.
Munchies, you know damn well.
We don't know.
You
My
just tipped the
integrity's worth more
scales,
than your pussy.
Munchies.
Goodbye, girls.
Oh, okay. Well, you're leaving.
Oh,
Bye.
Wait, Brandon, are you there?
No, I think
The
he
fuck should I
probably
stick
has.
around with a bunch of? Why should I stick around? Give me one fucking good reason.
Would it
Right?
make
Give me
you
one
feel
good
better
reason.
if I left, Brandon? Would it make you feel better if I left for a minute? I'll leave if it'll make you feel a little bit less on edge. I'll be a happy friend in the comments for a little bit if it'll help you calm down.
I'll give you one reason why you need to stay, Brandon. You ready for it? Because you referred to this panel as girls when they're all grown ass women, and that's misogynistic as hell. And you need to stay in spaces like this so you'll learn how to respect.
And my integrity is worth more than their pussies. Okay, so let's get this very straight, Jeff. You have the fucking gall to come in here talking about I'm going to make
that man is stressed.
Can we make this camera on? I'd love to see the veins popping out of his forehead right now.
You've got all these women in this comment section.
On the back of his neck, red as a muff.
I just wanted to know.
Brandon got sunburned right now.
Bullies. Fucking bullies. Emotional fucking bullies. That's all you are.
You're the only one that's been using slurs and problematic.
No, you don't have to use slurs in order to be.
Can you tell us which emotions we hurt today?
You don't have to be an emotional. You don't.
No, which one of your emotions have we stepped on today, sweetie?
You know what, Jeff?
Let us be accountable for our actions. Let us be accountable. Tell me how I've hurt you, and let's start there.
Victim turtleneck, and this is why you guys get banned. This is why you guys get banned. I'm so glad you guys were able to finally show it in such glorious fashion. You have the absolute gall to sit here talking about how everybody's so much better off than. Then you turn around and you have the absolute gall to go ahead and say, well, look at
the gall.
Again, you still want to interrupt the man who's actually speaking. You don't want to have an actual conversation?
I mean, I was trying to ask you a question so we could have a conversation, but you keep getting distracted by your crush on Miss Andrea, and I get it. She's pretty. The red hair is giving, but
yeah, and the armpit. Don't forget to.
But
yeah, no,
I was asking before you went.
No,
into
Munchies,
your
you were asking
2-minute
questions.
rant.
You were asking questions. They were not.
I'm still asking questions.
If that's how they want to act, then that's on them. Their integrity sucks.
But Brandon, you just said something about the worth of all of our coochies. even though Munchies wasn't doing that to you. And she's explained several times that she's not doing it, and you still
Then
targeted
you
her.
got no room to
Brandon,
speak, considering the fact that
Brandon,
you were
first
doing the
off, you can
exact same as
relax.
Miss
Hold
Andrews.
on, hold
Do
on,
I have a
hold on.
coochie, Brandon? Do I have a?
You
Jeffrey.
gotta, you
No,
gotta,
my
you know.
integrity is worth
Come
more
on,
than your
Jeffrey. You
cock.
gotta, you got that Bucci cat.
I got
Brandon,
that
don't
pussy.
nobody. That Brandon. Oh, he ran, or somebody dropped him. That's so
I mean,
crazy how we
I
were having such a
personally
great conversation, and he just came up here on 10, mad as hell.
Yeah.
Did I do that?
um
Was that my fault? I'm
really
sorry.
did want to know if he had a wife, because since he was seeming to take everything personal, I wanted to know if his wife was allowed to say whether or not, he can get a vasectomy or if he can come. I wanted to know these things because
That.
that's toxic matriarchic toxic um
Uh-huh.
you know the word I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I didn't know wife was a trigger word. But it
I
definitely is.
it went completely left, so I'm assuming he does not have a wife and he will be going home
Yeah.
or going to bed alone with his Timu toy, and God bless him.
I somebody in Discord was saying, Serene in Discord was saying that I've interacted with him before, and I don't remember though. And I don't know what Butters was saying, but somebody muted them in the thing. I saw somebody say that he needed to be blocked or muted or something. I don't know.
Can Serene tell us if he was that angry during y'all last interaction? Like, does that seem like common for him?
So I guess Miss Andrew has some more. Is that Mimosa? Miss Andrew, it is.
Your cat's name is Mimosa. I love that. That is
Right.
so cute.
Yeah. Um, Serene said he's always like that, and I guess he just likes to get out here and crash out at midnight. It's a quarter after midnight, and he out here upset over women having coochies, or I don't know what his deal is.
Look,
Definitely.
that's how he puts himself to sleep. That's
Oh,
how. Look, he doesn't use Twitter. He doesn't use Cornhub. He uses arguing with women on this lovely app.
He reminds me of, if I could imagine, like, we all have that creepy uncle. Well, I don't know if all. I know a lot of us have that creepy uncle that we shouldn't have because nobody likes to talk about what he did and he just exists. I imagine if Elliot Rogers had a creepy uncle, that's what he would be.
so Butters is back in the. Oh, first off, I never had that creepy uncle. As much as but I only have two uncles. I only had two uncles. They're both gone. Um, I had a racist, misogynistic, but he was not a P3DO or nothing like that. He was those two things, but he wasn't those. So what's up with Butters? What do we need to do with Butters? Butters is a man. Great. I heard that you're being problematic, so we're gonna let you sit for right now. But if you say some problematic stuff, you're gonna be out of here. Scram. Get out. Gone. But Miss Andrew, you going?
You kicking me out?
No, you just said thank you to everybody, so I didn't know.
Oh, I mean, I can leave, but I'm just here.
No, you're welcome to stay. I've got a friendly and request queue. We don't have any mother. If anybody
I'm gonna drop y'all. It's been fun. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you
Have a
being
good
up here.
night, son.
I appreciate you being up here. Yeah.
Good to share space with you, Sin. It's been a while.
Yeah. Nicole, come up. Somebody said something about ascended master. I see how y'all treat people. That's a trap. Ascended master, energy goes where intentions flow. I would change that name. That name sounds like a dog whistle.
It probably is. A lot of things on this lovely app, and honestly on the opinion side of the internet, usually are dog whistles or rage baiting or wanting someone to pay attention to somebody who does not get attention in the actual real life.
Yep, 100%. Hey, y'all would like to live up. We're starting to get a little bit of more activity in here. Starting to get some more folks. We're gonna stay on a little bit longer. We're keeping 100. I got a little gift goal. I've got. I really ain't set a subscription goal, but I think it just be staying on there. I try not to have super problematic people up here though, because I'm trying. The last couple of lives I've had were like real great discussions, in my opinion, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So we know what ascended. We're gonna go on and invite you up. So what's up? The last fella that left. No, the last fella that yeah, he was rough. No, we're gonna invite you up. What's up,
Um,
Nicole? You wanna jump in?
I
Maybe
was
not.
gonna say something, but if Nicole was gonna introduce herself, I definitely don't want to cut somebody off that hasn't got a chance to talk yet.
Yeah.
Oh, no, can you guys hear me?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Awesome. No, I had a lot to say to Mr. Brandon, but he decided to dip unexpectedly. But
Yeah.
yeah,
They'll do that. Usually I try not to have too many folks on the panel, especially when there's somebody that's as problematic as he is, because I have words that I wanted to say that I just didn't get in, right? Because, everybody needs a little voice. But that guy was rough. Every time I come across someone like that, I just know that we still have a lot more work to do, right? Um,
1000%.
yeah, I would like to take this opportunity to anybody that's in Lower Alabama around Mobile. We're having a progressives meeting Friday. I'm starting to get more into lefty spaces like that, into young progressive. It's like a little wine thing or something like that. I don't drink, but it's at a place. You know what I'm saying? With some political stuff going on, some signs, some hanging out. So if you're into that type of stuff, I'll probably make a post about it. But Friday, I think 5 to 7, it's going to be a good time. If you're around, of course, if you're not around Lower Alabama, then that's probably not going to be a good time for you. So, Alyssa, good night. I'm glad that you're here and showed up. Yeah, we're trying to. Somebody reached out. This happened on TikTok. So let me give y'all the breakdown on this. Um, Somebody on TikTok shared something with me. They're in Mobile, and he was like, "Hey, there's a coffee thing going on. You want to come to it? Cool." So I showed up. I met some people. They're having a progressive group going on, like a think tank kind of on Tuesdays. I met with that group. Somebody saw my content on TikTok from the Democratic chair in Alabama, reached out to me, and now I'm in Discord with Alabama progressives, and we're doing think tank ideas and such as that. And that's the power of social media right now. That's the power of making your voice known, and that's the power of aligning yourselves with a community that has a common goal of where you're trying to go, right? And all of this has literally happened within the last year or so, year and a half. Not that I've had these ideas and these progressive thoughts, but that doesn't mean that I was making waves with it, right? So yeah, like I said, the person reached out to me that is in Montgomery, and that's just wild behavior to me. That's crazy that I don't know what'll come of it or anything like that, but what I do know is that I'm surrounding myself with people that at least think that we need to make a change in the right direction, right? We need to push for more. You got Beham Progressive and Crediberry on here that both make Alabama content, and I'm sure that every state has that. I'm sure, right? And there's a complete spectrum of left leaning ideas, but we all fall on the spectrum. We've talked before about how the left kind of tears the left apart because we all don't agree on some things, but we all agree on that we don't need a right wing authoritarianism, Trump regime inside the United States, right? Like that's not going to be a good plan for us. That's not going to be a good step in the right direction, right? So, Ascended Master, if you want to come up here on the panel, by all means. If you want to just talk to me, but stop making problematic behavior. If you're scared, then I guess just say that, right?
I like how, if you don't mind, how is it okay, Jeff, if I say something about this comment? I like how he wants to be very loud and clear that he's not a punching bag, when all of his behaviors very much align with the toxic and violent behaviors that women experience on a daily basis at the hands of men. So as much as you are entitled to your autonomy and entitled to not being a physical punching bag, so the fuck are we. Sorry, so are we. I apologize, Jeff. So are we. I just want to make sure, like, I don't know if everyone saw that comment, but I think it's really important. Your autonomy matters just as much as ours. And when I say autonomy, that doesn't just mean right to healthcare. When I say autonomy, I mean I should be allowed to walk outside my house, clothed or unclothed, however I so see fit, without having to fear consequences and behaviors from men who cannot control themselves. That's autonomy. Autonomy does not just have to do with pregnancy. And I only say that because you threw in your little comment, but please enjoy the fact that you're not a punching bag.
Mm-hmm.
Neither are we. And I just wanted to make that point.
I would also like to point out, I did look up his name of what Ascended Master is. It's an enlightened being who have evolved beyond the need to reincarnate on Earth. They're believed to act from a higher plane of existence to assist humans in their movement towards enlightenment and guide the race, not races, race, in its destined evolution. So it's real funny that he thinks that he's going to be a punching bag on the panel, but that's his name. So just as Miss Andrew said, so he doesn't want people, he's scared that people are going to treat him like he treats other people. Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, definitely got some isms going on. Yeah, definitely got some isms going on in behavior. So we'll let him rock in the comments a little bit longer and see if there's anybody that's problematic in the comments. If you would like to come up and have a word of discussion, then you're welcome to do that. If there's anybody that wants to follow for this type of content, like I said, I'm looking for more like-minded individuals. That'd be great, or not, I guess. But we definitely need to switch into more of this matriarchal worldview, right? We need to have more love and balance, and a gift economy. Not one person even asked my opinion. You're just lashing out. So you can get beat up in the comments, I guess, or you can come up here on the panel and have a conversation about it, right? But it's silly that you're gonna stay in the comments. But the gift economy is something that I kind of hold on to as we should just want to do good for people because we want people to do good for us. And I know that it's probably not possible right now, but I'm thinking of a future where we disassociate ourselves with trying to make profits for our own gain, and we just have access to things because we don't want to withhold resources from individuals. We want everyone to have and be able to move freely inside society, right? I don't know if anybody's ever watched the movie In Time, but it kind of changed your perspective.
Justin Timberlake?
Yeah.
The one with, okay, yeah.
So, I mean, we don't really support Justin Timberlake anymore because he has problematic misogynistic views on things. I mean, I used to like the way he dances and stuff, but the movie itself, right? So it's called In Time, and basically what they've done is I'll give you the premise of the movie, but everybody has a watch on their hand, and it has 1 year on it, and that year starts clocking when you turn 25, and you never age. You age to 25, and then that's it. And then once you get to a year, it starts clocking down. So everything you do within inside society is just for time. And they have what they call timekeepers, which are police enforcement. But you go to work every day and you get a certain amount of time put on your wrist. And basically people are living day to day because they only give them enough time to go home and come back to work the next day, stuff like that. And all of the time is hoarded with the richest people inside society, and everything is set up district-wise where you can't travel without spending time, stuff like that, right? So it's a really good movie, and it has a really good points inside of it. To ride the bus, you have to have a certain amount it costs you 5 minutes to ride the bus. A coffee cost you 6 minutes. A coffee used to cost you 5 minutes, but inflation, everything costs more time these days. It's really good, Um, but yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah. Like I said, it's a little dated now, but it does kind of flip the script on how we view things, right? It shows us how important time is. Uh, so yeah, and you can do things like time fights, with each other where you can argue over the time. But something else that happens is you can be showing too much time, so you're flashy. If you have a decade on your arm or something, you can't walk around with that kind of time because people will rob you for it. You drink by paying for things like that. So when people get a lot of time, they'll end up unaliving themselves because they had too much time on their hands. Stuff like that. It's just a lot of metaphors within the movies that we use in day to day. And if you got time for it, you should watch it. Is all I'm saying. But anyway, if anybody wants to say anything on the panel, you're welcome to do it.
I was gonna say this jokingly, take a shot every time you said the word time. Um, but and this kind of circles back into the topic on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people, whenever you say matriarchy or matriarchal society, they get a little, and I believe Sin brought this up earlier before she left, they get a little concerned because they're like, oh, well, underneath the patriarchy, men are so, they act this way towards women or they act this way towards queer people or blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people will try to say as a defense, oh, well, it wouldn't be like that underneath matriarchy. One of the things I think that you also just said was that there's room for improvement for different things. Yeah, maybe women could run things a little bit better, a little less violent. Not saying or not removing women away from violence, because like we mentioned earlier, women will do violent acts. But and this is something I wanted to bring up earlier. There also needs to be accountability with some of our fellow, well, not yours because you're a man, but with some of our fellow women. Like, for example, women that do, what is it? Radical feminism.
Mm-hmm.
And not in the sense of feminism of looking after people and equality, but, and this is not a shot at Miss Andrea, I actually like her quite much, very much, but people who, outside of teasing folks like Brandon, go out of their way to men who maybe aren't doing anything, maybe are trying to be an ally like you seem to be, like yourself, and just be like, yeah, shut up, you're a man.
I think Alyssa kind of hit the nail on the head right there. I think that's just a response to extreme misogyny, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people that are moving in society like that, they weren't like that their whole lives. Whether it was something that
Right.
super disenfranchised them or just a lot of things over, just over time, or they finally just woke up to the system. But I think that we need people like that at this current time. I made a Facebook status 2 years, 3 years ago, something like that, when it was there were some court rulings that were going on about it was about 2.5 years ago, about Roe v. Wade being overturned and such as that. And I made a Facebook status and I said, I don't know how women aren't burning the world down today. And literally, I would expect it, because for the laws to be interpreted and enacted in a way to the extremity of this person isn't a full person like this person is. And it's the same thing with race, and in some degree about religion, as far as upholding a Christian religion inside of the United States. But the fact of, you can't do certain things I can do because of your skin tone, is just crazy behavior. It's
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine a world where I had to live through that every day. And that's what I'm saying. And so when someone says something to me or does something to me in a way that I know comes from that systemic oppression, it's no skin off my back, because you're acting that cool about it. You're that cool about it. Fuck, I'm Gucci. You know what I'm saying? You're that,
Mm-hmm.
you still gravy? all right, like I'm proud of you for being where you're at, you know? And so like I don't expect there's a quote from Tupac that says something like that, and I know I'm gonna butcher it up, but if you've heard it, you've heard it. Uh he said the people are only gonna knock on the door so long, right? If they're hungry and they see people in there eating food and it's like, hey, we want some food. Can we get a little plate? And they're like, nah, come back tomorrow. And they come back tomorrow and there's a bigger table and there's more people in there having a ball and they having a party. And it's like, hey, let us in. We want some food. And they're like, nah, come back tomorrow. And there's only so many days before they're going to be nice about it. Before it's like, we're going to bust this door down and we're going to come get some food, And at what point are we going to have to collectively do that, as a society to make sure that we try to, get our fair share of what we put in, right? Because life isn't meant to be lived in the way that most people live their lives. We're not. When the minimum wage standards came out, it wasn't just to provide bread for the table. It was also to put some roses on the table every now and again too, right? So,
Right.
we're not meant to just provide. We're not meant to just get enough house, just get enough
We're not meant
clothes.
to just survive.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. We're meant, and two weeks a year is literally not enough. I just spent 3 weeks in Spain, and I know that that's very privileged of me to do. But everyone should be entitled to be able to do that because they're a human, not because they were born in a certain location, not because their parents were a certain thing or anything like that. And I mean, I'm parentless now. My mom's been gone for 5 years. My dad's been gone for 35 years. So like, I've come from nothing, but even I didn't have to. I shouldn't have had to come from that. I shouldn't have had to be disenfranchised because I was raised by a single mother. Um, just because I beat some of the system, there's people now that would look at my life as like shambles, but there's also people out there that are craving to get to where I'm at in life. And the way that the society is set up is always taught to look towards the next thing. Whereas if you're born, you should be entitled to these things. You should be entitled to health care. You should be entitled to education. You should be entitled to food. And we shouldn't withhold them from a certain group of people so we can get people to do certain things for the top. And that's the problem that we have now. No matter what side of
Yeah.
the political aisle you're on, no matter what side of the system that you're on, if you're at the top, you just want to make sure that the system stays in place. And that's one reason why I really don't like talking about the economy or the stock market, because those things don't equate to good life for more people. If the stock market's doing great, there's probably more people that are being disenfranchised from the stock market than there are people that are getting better from said stock market. The stock market just makes sure that the system is being upheld and in place. It doesn't make sure that there's more people eating and that there's less people on the streets. You know? Anyway, but that's just where I'm at with that. And so we have to move inside of society. And when I say we, I mean everyone has a little bit of something that they can pull a lever on, and we all need to collectively agree that that's what we're doing, right? Serene, what's talking about a sneak diss? Um, but everyone has a little bit of a lever that they can pull, right? Everyone kind of comes from something. And if it's an extreme feminist, if that's what you want to call it, her pulling her lever is being able to call the bullshit out immediately before it ever happens, right? Like Miss Andrew's great at that. Like she can clock it before I can clock it, right? Whatever
Right.
whatever she's been through to get her to there, that's because that lets me know certain things. That lets the people that she's talking to know certain. You're not going to keep moving in a misogynistic way like this, right? Like
Right.
society is changing, and it's taken a couple generations. All of what we're talking about now is a direct result, in my opinion, of women gaining access to rights and minority groups inside the United States gaining more rights, because now we're getting to
Mhm.
where there's some more equity and equality. Now there's some more, now that these groups that are marginalized can be louder. LGBTQIA plus can be louder, right? And you're not going
Right.
to continue to oppress us on and on. European Americans have done that long enough. We got to stop it, you know?
And let me just kind of elaborate a little bit more. Whenever I was talking specifically about radical feminism, I'm talking about those who are not inclusive. Because in my early years, I happened to go to university, go to college, like right in the early 2010s, whenever, social media was really kind of getting its groove. And, people were learning so many different things because now we have access to all of this. And everybody's like, I'm gonna be a feminist. Well, not everybody, but a lot of girls who are just now getting this chance outside of their hometowns are saying, I'm gonna be a feminist, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And then it got so clicky so very, very, very quickly. And I understand where you're coming from in the sense of like, well, it's reactionary because these women, these people for so long have been the minorities, have been oppressed, have been put down. So obviously they're doing these things are protective. But it's also kind of sad because then you're excluding people who need the help. But that's why I'm glad you also made mention of things like equity, because now in at least at least from what I've seen, at least in these past like 2020 and these past couple of years, it has been leading more towards equity and more towards inclusion and more towards, everybody and not just certain kinds of feminists or certain kinds of women.
Right, right. Yeah, and we're getting there more and more, but we have to continue to have these discussions. We need to continue to ask the questions of why, and we need to keep pushing the narrative that no freedom until we're all free, right? And
Exactly.
that goes for everyone. And a lot of the men that are upholding the system will understand that they will benefit immensely from everyone being free. And that's something that I don't understand why they don't think like that. But yeah.
This is why I also am intentional about saying when I'm live, because I'm aware of the majority of the biggest demographic of people that follow my content and that I speak that feel connected to my story are women that look like me. I'm a cis white woman and I am on my unpacking journey. And I'm really intentional about not referring to myself as just a feminist. And I think I align with intersectional feminism, but I am very much more a radical intersectional in the regard of I feel like I understand my lane and my advocacy, but I'm very much centered around decentering men specifically. So I've been referring to myself as an intersectional misandrist because I do think it's really important to have these conversations intersectionally and to lead by example as to how to be as inclusive as possible. But I also feel like there is space to be radical. It's just really hard because there's so much nuance to it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and host a live advocating for any men's rights.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to be anywhere trying to shut them down for doing it. I'm not against the advocacy. I'm not anti-equality and equity. I just personally am focused on the decentering of men specifically, and I try to lead. I'm learning as I go, so I love the conversation because I want to be as inclusive as I can to all women while decentering men. So it's definitely it's been tricky. It's still, and it's had its ups and downs, and I'm sure there will be many more. But conversations like these and the variety of different types of conversations that are taking place, I think have been the biggest help for me on and offline. Just being surrounded by people that approach conversations, important conversations like this in a variety of ways has really helped open my eyes. So I just say that because of the people listening. I hope that everybody that is learning and immersing themselves in this education and the unpacking journey, that you are intentional about surrounding yourself with voices and stories that are unfamiliar to you, because that's the only way you're going to get that, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but I think my point was,
Oh yeah, yeah.
It most
I
definitely
think.
was. I'm so
Sorry.
sorry. Go ahead, Nicole. You haven't spoken at all.
No. It's been very nice to listen and just gather in. But what Miss Andrew was saying very much reminds me of, okay, like I love England and I love the Queen, and the ideal of it, right? There are a lot of flaws to it, but you know, Queen Elizabeth and herself in the 50s was very much that idea of, centralizing women and their potential, and it was, never outspoken that she was a feminist, never said it out loud, but just by simply like recognizing, women and their potential for opportunities. And I think that's a lot, very much what it is, right? Putting them in a position to where they are noticed in a world where the conversation wasn't even had before. And I think it's so incredibly important. And the conversation wasn't even had before. And I think it's so incredibly important. And I don't where you're oppressing men in place and putting women in their place. It's putting women in a place and an opportunity.
Of course, I got froze again.
But one of the things that, in response to what Sandra was talking about, a lot of people, whenever you say words like unpacking, they think that it's an attack, and it's really not, because as literally to be human is to to err, to learn, to mistake. Every day we grow, every day we learn something new. So if you're unpacking as you're growing and as you're learning how to be more empathetic and be more open to the community around you, then I don't understand why people then get offended and be like, oh, why are you saying I need to do this? Why are you saying I need to do that? Because what's wrong with growth? And that's always just one of the things that just kind of really throws me whenever people get upset about others wanting to grow.
I appreciate that, Terrence. What we need to do? We need to get some more likes in here. We need to get some more folks. Is there anyone in the comments section that's being raggedy that y'all see? Do we need to have another male centering up here?
Butters isn't being raggedy. Butters is just being kind of funny.
The what?
I was saying, I think Butters is here for the entertainment. They're not really being raggedy. They're just kind of having different conversations.
I got you. Yeah, they being problematic.
I do think that and in the conversation of intersectionality, I do think that there's it's quite problematic to reference Queens of England in that conversation, specifically when we're talking about being inclusive of women, just given the historical collection of data on how they have treated anyone that is not a colonizer. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the journey. That's part of the unpacking. And I'm still learning, and I don't mean to overstep. I just, I took issue with it, with the reference, but I did understand why you made that connection. I don't know if Nicole can hear me, but in the conversation of intersectional feminism, highlighting white queens of colonizing nations is just not it. And that's just, again, some more unpacking that is involved in this process, which is exactly what spaces like this are incredibly beneficial for women like us, Nicole.
Right. Yeah, and the comments clocked that too. There was a couple people that said something about that. I didn't hear all of it because I was froze up because TikTok doesn't like. I can't complain though.
TikTok is kind of moving weird app-wise. Like, my screen has been halfway up and seeing the top of someone else's live, but I'm still here somehow. So the app is definitely glitching.
Yeah, I'm gonna download TikTok Studio, and I might get a device, a separate device to hold, so the screen will be bigger. I mean, I got this Samsung. It's like a 6-inch screen, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I said that to say TikTok Studio might be a better, because it's a completely different app. And Miss Sandra, do you use TikTok Studio?
It doesn't work on my Apple Mac or my MacBook, so I have to get a Windows platform, and I don't have a PC. If I had a PC, it would, but I hear good things about it, and just the streaming experience overall seems to be much better. So I am actually looking at. They actually have some deals coming up on the TikTok shop for some like a full set of Android tablets with an attachable keyboard and mouse and like
microphone,
a whole shebang.
Yeah,
the whole shebang.
I want to be like legit deal serious right here. Yeah.
You're gonna be a real streamer, ho. I'm
Yeah.
a real streamer. Sorry.
Yeah. No. You can throw it on there. I'm good with it. Yeah. But yeah, what's matriarchy? That's a system that's set up in equality and making sure that nobody's disenfranchised. In my opinion, that's my own personal definition. Where there's no higher power as much as men and women are equal. Or women and men. I tried this for a while about 6 months ago, and I probably need to get back on this, but I want to start saying women first, women and men, because that'll really aggravate the European Americans. 100%. But
Now that I'm almost always here for, just a little poking, a little Facebook poke to aggravate them every now and then.
yeah. Oh yeah. You see Terrence messing with me? What? Yeah, I'm trying to get the setup. That's why all my cars names are men. That's why I cope with different things. But we ain't gonna get into it now. Yeah. I want a mic like Jay. Jay be having the mic, he be talking. I want to have the mic, I want to be talking. I thought I'd be able to find a deal on the TikTok shop. Have y'all ever heard? Look, this is what I'm finna do right now. Dang it.
The TikTok shop is dangerous. They got the little mics and they're dangerous.
I bought the little mic, but I ended up losing it. I can't keep up with nothing. Serene, how you doing today?
I'm good. Why am I up here?
I just thought that you'd like to be up here. I know that. I know sometimes you like to visit panels.
I don't think that's true. I think that's the opposite of true, as a matter of fact.
See, I know Monica wanted to send you a couple of heart puffs, so you needed to be on the panel in order for that to happen.
Oh, okay. Hi, Monica. Is she in the? I didn't see her. Is she in the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. I don't come up on panels.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say that.
I'm typically in the comments, but
somebody said
Not to interrupt, but can y'all hear Nicole? Because she said she was speaking, and I don't know if anybody can hear her.
I did not.
Also, I'm gonna go ahead and drop. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the time. I think I followed everybody. Y'all have a good one.
All right. I appreciate you coming up and having the conversation. Yeah. Nicole, I'm gonna go on and drop you out too because we can't hear you. But I saw you in the comments. Appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you adding to the conversation, and that's what we like. And 4 minutes worth of other things. Do you want to say those things? You can. I'm gonna drop you. You can come back if you want to. Serene got Shan service right now.
be quiet. I do not. I'm coming in loud and clear. But TikTok is being glitchy.
Yeah, very, very much so. But look, I appreciate. We all good. All is well. All right, Nicole. I am going to shut this rascal down. I do appreciate the gifts, the love. I don't know if anybody subbed or not, but that's Gucci. We got 24 subs in here, which is crazy. Miss Andrew, you had 300 subs.
I do. I had to. Yes, I do. Yes.
that's crazy to think about. Like you're at that level. You know what I'm saying? Like you're making tracks. The,
It's insane. I'm incredibly grateful.
right.
I am also incredibly overwhelmed.
It becomes. I was like that a couple of months ago. Just like my content that I was going to put out, like what I was doing, how I was moving, just like making sure that I still was staying aligned with like what I wanted to do. It was very much a, you know what I mean? So I'm sure 300 subs feels like it's like, dang, you know what I'm saying? I have this many people that want to hear what I have to say. It's crazy.
It is. It's also, it's that part is overwhelming, but now there's also the part of what everyone wants to hear you say. That is, and that's just another part of the journey too. It's new for me. It's just having so many people wanting something specific. And that like I want to do it all. I really want to do it all. And so I'm learning how to choose, how to be more decisive. But yeah, I freaking love it. And for the same reasons that you talk about, like and anybody that knows me knows I do not spend a lot of time in men's spaces. There's a select few that I can tolerate, including you, Jeffrey. And for now anyway. What?
Where did he hear that? Where did he get off with
Your
that?
best friend. I mean, he said your name like y'all go way back. I said, oh, okay.
Way more back than us.
What was that?
Nobody on this app calls me by my government name like that, neither.
I don't think it's me he sees when he closes his eyes at night. And I can't say that about most men that I encounter on this app.
Full Diddy, too. Full Diddy.
No, but I love the growth mentality. And I say this all the time. And I love an opportunity to remind people because I think it's a good food for thought. Growth is truly my love language. And the only reason it's not part of the 5 love languages, I believe, is because that shit was written by a white man.
Yeah.
Being around people that are not just talking about it, but being about it, like that is inspiring. That is motivating. And surrounding yourself with people like that make it so much easier. Like, what was her name? That was just up here. I just met her. I'm so sorry.
Munchies?
Munchies, yeah. She was talking about, gosh, I just had a brain fart.
Be like that.
Gosh darn it. It's okay. She said something that was so spot on, but it's okay. It'll come back to me.
Gotcha. I'm just
Oh,
happy.
the unpacking. How unpacking seems like a dirty word and it's like an insult. But unpacking truly is just a sign of growth, and that should be exciting. So that's what I hope people get from it.
Yeah. So I tell people this. I realized this in my young 20s when I was moving about and I was learning. I was taking in a lot of information at that time. A lot of information about like moving around in society, living by myself, a new job. I was meeting a whole bunch of new people a lot older than me in most cases. And just a lot of things were going on every week. It seemed like there was just something. I was really trying to get my fitness and training dialed in, but I moved about 2.5 hours away from where I lived, and I would go back and hang out with some of my friends, and they would be doing the same thing that we were doing when we graduated high school, and it seemed so like funny to me that they didn't have any new information. They weren't clocking anything that we had done in the past. They were already talking about what we used to do, as in their life had stopped. And there's a song called Young Americans. And he says something about, Billy Idol says something about, you live for 18 and you unalive for the next 52 or something like that. And that line kind of speaks to what that is to grow up in some of these American societies. Like your best times in life are before you turn 21. And then you just keep reliving that until you unalive, right? And so anytime someone's stuck in that young 20s mindset, you know that, and especially if they can't come to any convictions inside of their own life. Like 5 years ago, I was moving funny. 10 years ago, I was super problematic in this relationship or whatever. Like, they haven't started to do any unpacking and realize just how they don't have to realize how deep we're indoctrinated, but they at least need to realize that there's problematic stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we just inherently have bad things going on, and that's what the patriarchy kind of pushes. So, but all of that just ties together to, like, once you realize that, you need to stand up and try to actively move the needle a little bit, right? So, anyway, I never hear women wishing they were kids again, but a lot of men do. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. You also never hear stuff from women talking about women being girls, but society always downplays men into being boys, or he's not grown yet and stuff like that. And I think that that's very problematic, because that just constitutes bad behavior from grown ass men, right? So.
Let's not forget that it's easier to relinquish your rights, trigger warning, as a parent in this country. If a man impregnates a minor, it's easier for him to marry her than it is for him to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is why Brandon and the things like the people like Brandon say are very triggering to me. And that's why I have the response I do. That's at the forefront of my mind. When men speak against the oppression of women, it's negating the violence against children. And I got this from Sean. She was just in the comments, but her and I were talking a while back, and it's the plausible deniability. As long as they don't admit it and don't have to admit it, and they're not publicly in admittance of acknowledging this, then they can live in that realm of ignorance comfortably. They can look themselves in the mirror every day. It's how they cope.
Right.
It's the plausible deniability that they couldn't possibly be contributing to something so vile. But the reality is, when people say that they're pro-life, or that they're pro-Republican Party, or they're pro a lot of things that are oppressive, all they're doing is choosing to ignore the details of the violence.
Right. Pro-capitalistic and stuff like that. It's not good to many. It's only good to the smallest amount of few. Some things, and some of those aren't even good to those. But anytime they try to turn the blind eye to that, or they don't want to realize that, and because I actually made a video about this a week or two ago. Somebody was telling me that I had a liberal agenda or something like that, or I was feeling too much. I can't remember exactly what the comment was, but I said, look, I didn't wake up to become this. This is not what I set out to be. I tried my best to be a misogynistic asshole. I really did. But it's just, it's hard to move around and see people, be in a certain way and not, and to continue to oppress them, right? It's difficult to do once you see it. And so you can't just stand by and let it happen. You have to try to make a change on it. But anywho, we've made it to 1 o'clock. We didn't even get to 100,000 likes. I feel like we probably could have did that.
Do not fly everybody out for like a weekend getaway if you get 100,000 views, Jeffrey. I don't know what we're gonna do with you. If you get 100,000 views, your fans are gonna be expecting something.
This is funny.
Yeah, we'll get there one day, Joe. We'll get there one day. I am gonna shut it down. I do appreciate everyone being here. I'm gonna look into the TikTok shop for some deals on streaming devices. Serene, you get us hooked up on that? I saw you and Terrence going back and forth about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. He told me no podcast equipment for you, no podcast mics.
Oppression at the finest, right?
You're still a man, right?
I'm just but a man. I feel like to get a podcast mic, You need to talk to two women. Like two women got to approve you for a podcast.
More than that. Nah. You need like 7. Because those 2 could easily be pygmies. Easily.
Not
Speaking of
not a
podcasts,
Saiyan Rider. Not a Saiyan Rider being the women.
Right. Not the side.
you want to
Right.
know a little secret that I've been holding on
Not you
to?
name dropping.
What's that?
Not you name dropping like that.
Before Fresh and Fit was a podcast, they were personal trainers and they started their own personal training business. And I met them both when I was a rookie sales rep at Yelp, and they started their business, and I sold them the shittiest package. I couldn't believe they fucking bought it, and they did it, and I spent like hours on this proposal, and they bought it, and they didn't get a damn thing out of it. And I like forgot all about it. And then because I sold advertising and they had just started their like personal training gym business, like mobile gym thing. And then this whole thing happened and I'm just sitting here like, I've just been appreciating that so much.
The whole crash out.
My gosh.
Fresh and Fit. Everybody got to start somewhere. But some people just
Not
want to end up
everybody.
being
Not
oppressive even
everybody
more.
needs to.
That's all.
Everybody needs to shut their
Everybody,
mouth. Everybody needs to
everybody.
stay in the comments like me.
Yeah, I know you wanted to come
Hi,
on. I know you.
public. Hi,
This,
public. No,
yeah,
I ain't been on your panel for like a long ass time. Like a long
yeah.
time.
And I feel like there's more people in here than any other time you've been on a panel, or at least my panel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's typically like under 20 people if I'm on. Because if there's
Yeah,
more than like 50 and there's an op looming, I'm not trying to be on. I'm
right,
not trying to
right.
You were
crash
talking.
out on the panel.
You were talking about not wanting to have certain types of conversation, not wanting to bring in too problematic of people. Why would you bring me up on your panel? Like you literally, you know that I am probably TikTok's biggest incel magnet at this point.
Because Brandon was already on the panel. That's why. That's why I brought you. I was like, oh, she's in the awesome, perfect. Because I knew he was gonna say some problematic stuff, and I knew you was gonna clock the shit out of it. And look what
I couldn't
happened.
even remain. Oh, that
I
was
can't
so
believe he
ridiculous.
remembered all of the times he got kicked out of my account. Like the amount of like he kept track. I bet he has a wall. Actually, this is an animation I've been having in my head. I got to get it out of my head. It's like a shrine of me in the background, and
Yeah.
he's just got like a tally.
I don't put him like Stan. I'm your biggest fan. You hear from me every day.
Talking about you've been banned. You keep being banned. You're getting
Yeah.
banana. You're getting banana. Like what is your
Why would you?
problem?
Yeah. Why would you
Wait,
ban
now I want to
Stan?
rewrite the lyrics to Stan because
Yeah.
I can do that. I can appropriate Eminem's music.
Yeah. I'm your biggest fan. I stood outside in the pouring rain for 4 hours just to get your autograph. Hold on. Yeah. Don't ban
Hi,
Stan.
JP McCarthy. Would you
Yeah.
like to come up? Oh, no, we're leaving. Sorry,
Yeah. We
you missed your
live.
chance.
We shirting the ban. Yeah. Did somebody say something? No
Yeah,
communism?
he said so communism. The
I don't know.
comprehension is not comprehending, my friend.
Yeah, it really ain't.
That's
It,
not what any of this says at all.
I bet
ain't.
he's got a concept of comprehension.
Oh,
Probably. Probably. Very
That's,
surface level.
that sounds about right. Did Miss Sandra, were you here earlier when there was a fella in here that didn't know what definitions were?
It's every live. Like, what do you mean? This earlier. Every live. They don't know
Listen, Kelvin
words.
still can't spell intelligent. Okay, the very first time Kelvin came up on my panel, everybody knows Kelvin. The very first time Kelvin came up on my panel, Blunt Queen was on the panel, and he was in the car with his buddy, and he's like, "Look here, there's two," and the background was men are capable or only good for two things: interrupting women and being rude or something like that, or being offensive. And he comes up and he's like, "Look, it's two women who think they're intelligent but can't even spell intelligent." And then he had like 3 minutes of silence to try to spell it himself. That was my very first interaction with Kelvin. So I'm not surprised. I'm not
No, it's
surprised that
literally
there's more of
every
them out there.
live. Every live, it's like, how are you arguing definitions that you don't understand? Explain how that works. And then you just have one circular argument for 20 minutes, getting nowhere.
That was the first
Getting
op.
literally nowhere.
Yeah. The first op in here was like that. It was just like we just weren't gonna get past those definitions. We weren't gonna get past communism, socialism.
Communism and socialism. Hi, villain.
Yeah.
I was earlier in a live. I've not been online too much today. I've been in my Discord, but I haven't been on TikTok too much. But I've been I popped in a live earlier, and this guy was claiming that he was a Marine and couldn't say what Semper Fi meant.
Oh, sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
You know they gotta. Oh, we're gonna let Tara. Tara's in it.
Hi, Tara.
All hail the matriarchy. How y'all doing?
Exactly. Exactly. Times 10.
Mm-hmm. We just getting close to shutting it down, but you was in the
Yeah,
request.
I figured that I'm going to sleep soon, but the patriarchy giving little dick energy all day, every day. Shout out to the matriarchy. Sign me up. I want in. I'm just saying. Y'all motherfuckers, I know y'all going to sleep soon. It's quiet as shit over here. But yeah, we all need the matriarchy. I love this. I don't even know what the fuck y'all was talking about, but I love this. I just wanted to stop by and say that. Look at that fucking circle. It's beautiful. It's fucking circle and shit. Ain't nobody at the top. Just saying, that triangle is a fucking little penis. Like, y'all niggas want a little penis. Y'all giving little dick energy. Like, no, throw me in a circle. Throw that ass in a circle. I love it. That's all I wanted to say.
No more hierarchies. No more hierarchies. Down with hierarchies.
Yeah, I'm about to take my ass to sleep. I just came up to say that. Shout out to y'all. All right, Jeff. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful night. Take your asses to bed. Bye.
Bye, Tara.
Bye, Tara.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Speaking of no more needs for pickle sickles, did you know that Cleopatra used to pleasure herself with a vial full of live bees?
I mean,
I did.
Living on the edge, you know?
I'm just saying, why
Literally.
men? Why men?
Literally on the edge. For no reason.
That's one way to do it. That's one way to do it.
For no reason at all.
I like how Tara came in here and told us to shut the shit down, but she liked what we was doing.
Right. She was like, go to bed, but yeah, I'm in favor of this.
I like all this shit. I like all this. Throw it in a circle, but take y'all
She
ass
said
to
it looks
sleep.
You pumped me up. I'm ready to go for another round.
She said it looks good. I'm gonna go to bed though. Okay. Bye. Bye, Tara.
I like all this shit. Y'all got curtains hung and everything, and this. All right. Well, we're gonna shut it down. I appreciate it. I appreciate if y'all ain't followed me yet and you still in here chit chatting, then follow me. And if you ain't, then I guess don't follow me. That'd be great. If y'all like to see the stuff that was going on, the stuff, did y'all hear that stutter? I don't never be stuttering like Joe, but there it came out. Yeah, it must be a European American thing. But if y'all like to see folks like Miss Andrew get up on men's heads, then y'all need to follow her, because she be doing that on hers. How much you gonna pay me to follow? I'm just gonna pay you some compliments, Butter. Is that all right?
Now,
But
Jeffrey.
if you got all this attention, you don't need to be paid as well.
Yeah, Butters. You've been solid in the chat for the last
You
30
got
minutes.
enough interaction for one night, don't you think?
Yeah.
Matt Avery is here to talk to me. You can get in my DMs, Matt, where I'll continue to ignore you.
Sorry, Matt. Sucks to suck.
He was in the request to come up, and I was like, surely, we ain't trying to. He's following me. Why are you following me, Matt?
Well, maybe he likes your content.
Because I talked to you. He wants to be talked to.
Mm-hmm. That's typically
Not
how it
to follow.
He
goes.
wants to be like you.
Not
Yeah,
the follow
that's typically how
dog.
it goes. You know how they follow from live to live and creator to creator.
Yeah.
Any of the mutuals, any of the friendlies, they're all following in different circles and days. It's a pattern. That's how they get access.
It's a pattern for sure.
That's how
but
parasites work.
Your name.
the way,
Serene, how is your voice your name?
You know, it's so funny. People meet me and they're like, "Wow, you're like named well," and I'm like, "Yeah." Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my mom. She did a good job.
All the love to your mom.
Right. She did a good job.
Yeah, networking. That's what Mike said. Network.
That's so true, Monica. My
Not the
gosh.
LinkedIn stalk. Not oh hell. All right then. Let's shut her down. I appreciate everybody being here. I done said that 4 times.
You did.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
This
you,
was great.
Monica.